Welcome to the League of Extremely Ordinary Gentlemen, the Broken Up Interview Show.
Nice.
Regardless of that, we still got a pretty big gang here to fill in the gaps.
I've been waiting for this for ages. This is a totally dedicated to Chewbacca. It's awesome. Going to be awesome.
Wait.
In fact, we're going to do the whole episode in Wookiee voice.
We are actually on Kashyyyk.
What just happened? What just happened?
Talking about Chew.
Oh, wait a minute. Chew.
Can I be lumpy?
Oh, man.
Wait, I do want to.
I thought it was Chewy.
If we're gonna do Star Wars here, let's just take a second here and talk about Kayla's beautiful new bed.
Oh, my
I just
God.
want to say.
Yeah.
Wait, did he see the picture?
Yes.
I saw the picture.
No, did Bo see
Holy
the
tap
picture?
dancing Boba Fett.
Did you see the picture?
Everyone saw the picture. It's
I
awesome.
saw the picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, she basically made a Millennium Falcon bed.
It'll
Like,
blow your fucking mind.
Yeah, new people may not be familiar, but she is the famous designer and maker of the cheeseburger bed. You know, speaking of cheeseburgers too. Wow, this comes full circle. I didn't even know.
It's all about
I think you were talking about cheeseburgers off mic. But
oh,
this
I'm
guy
sorry.
loves
Was I?
his
Okay,
Ike and
sorry.
has cheeseburgers.
I do. I like the cheeseburgers. And now she's built a bed that looks so much like the Millennium Falcon that yes, I'll take you up on your offer, Kayla.
That Jason
will
won't-
come spend the night with
Yeah.
you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's going to have to, like, drop some raid bombs to get me out of the house.
Well, you know what? Let's just do a quick once around here that show everybody who's here for these bookend segments. I am Cyrus.
Jason.
Hey, it's Tone.
Who is it?
I don't. I mixed up the names. Okay, shit.
It's
Grant,
Identity
and I
crisis!
was attempting to do a co-host impression.
Yeah, it was close.
Wow, too bad you're
Jesus.
retarded.
And it's me, Kayla, Princess from Hoth.
You did. You came in
I
the
came
full
dressed
outfit.
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
Princess
it's
Leia
very
from
healthy
Hoth.
and-
We're gonna cut Bo in half, and you can sleep inside him later.
Yes.
I thought Bo smelled bad on the outside.
If we're gonna have a tauntaun physique contest, handsome, let's get it going and see
Just
who
you.
wins.
Yeah, I'm in charge. You're the tauntaun. And who's next?
That was just immensely disturbing in my mind. I'm Kristen.
You already know Bo is here. That's for sure.
And fish.
Yes. Can I mention the other person? No, I can't. Okay, so
We have a secret invader.
a secret person. Okay, so anyway, we're all here. We all got together. It's getting to that point where it's awfully inconvenient with all of our lives getting as crazy as they are here in December. I mean, I know that they're beating down my walls with jingle bells and various other Christmassy
And shotgun
things
shells.
I don't want to deal with. Yes, well, yeah, that's my other life, my CIA operative life that we agreed not to talk about on the show.
I was more talking about your role as a death threat target.
Yeah, that too. But what's everybody doing right now? Let's just, before we get into the first interview, where are y'all at?
What do you mean? What?
Where are y'all at? What's going on? What's crazy in your
I'm
life
sitting
right now?
here.
Christmassy.
You can see me.
Oh, boy. You're missing the point again.
I'm, yeah, you know, it's the usual. Working, writing, secret little projects, not so secret little projects, all sorts of other shit that I'm juggling. So, yeah, you know how it is.
Is that what's keeping you busy? Is that not Christmassy at all, though?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I love Jesus and all, but his birthday's a pain in the ass.
It's not even his birthday, technically, but I'm just, just leave it at
Thank
that.
you, Mr. The papal C of the flying spaghetti monster.
That's not even skepticism. That's historical fact, but that's neither here nor there. Grant?
I got most of my Christmas shopping done already, just via Amazon, and it's nice. I just sat on my couch in my underwear and just bought a bunch of stuff online. Fuck yeah.
Let's all visualize that for a second.
I've heard, in fact, that the retail sales are way down and internet sales are the highest they've ever been this year.
Because it's cold in Texas, and that's
Invest your
against the
stock
wall.
in Amazon.
And it's because Grant keeps strolling through Walmart in his underwear.
Yeah.
Well,
I do.
That's why Kayla showed up in her Hoth outfit. She's like, it's like a death storm out there. It's not even snowing, and it's like,
It's a
yeah,
whole
it's
50
too cold.
degrees.
I was about to say,
but
yeah, what the hell are you talking about?
I hate it.
It's not
I'm
even
allergic
ice
to
on the
cold.
ground in Texas, and people are just swerving on the streets.
I know.
We can't
There were
handle it 'cause
snow
we don't have
flurries
snow
last
tires.
week and Austin
Yeah,
shut
for-
down.
Everyone's
30
acting like
seconds.
everyone's acting like it's the last scene in The Thing where Keith David and Kurt Russell are sitting out there freezing to death. You know.
But, like, I'm a teacher, so my 6-year-olds, we pulled a fire alarm just so everyone would go see their first snow. Because for some of these kids, it's the first time they've seen it in, like, daytime. Like, snow.
You just pulled the fire alarm?
The
so you
vi-
get ink all over your hand?
What? It's not
I
a
was always told
bag.
we can't pull the fire
Yeah,
alarm.
she wasn't
Get
jerking
people
off
over
a
here.
squid.
Yeah, did you have octopus in your...
Did you go to reform school, Grant?
Wait, does the water not turn purple in the pool if you pee?
You know what?
Is this also just a
Your
myth?
face will not stick like that.
Oh yeah, it will.
Well, Bo's will, but not yours.
That's what happened to me.
Oh.
So,
I've been
seriously, Kayla, you pulled a fire alarm just to get everyone to go look at the snow?
Yeah, for the 30 seconds of snow.
I approve. It's like something that would come out of that would happen in one of the 80s sex comedies that she likes. It's like, and only in those films.
Except there'd be more boobs and less 6-year-olds.
I'm imagining my version of it. You imagine your version of it.
That's awesome.
Ew.
Kudos to Kayla for pulling the fire alarm so everyone can go see snow.
You have to know that there are those
it
times
was,
in life that
it
you
was
just.
principal approved.
There are times in
Oh.
life you just have to say, "What
What the fuck?
That's a good one, Kayla.
This
Thank
mountain is pure snow.
Do you know the street value of this?
Next, they pull the tornado alarm, so everyone goes in the hallway to see the third grader's artwork.
you. Is there a tornado?
It's just they're scaring all these kids to death and be like, "Oh wait, no, look, it's snow." Oh God!
Duck
my voice was
and
running.
cover. It's a very special pizza lunch. Kristen, what do you got for us? What's taking up your time, keeping you busy
Everything.
right
I'm
now?
exhausted. By the time this airs, there will still be 1 weekend left of the Blue Genie Art Bazaar, which is a giant month-long art show with over 100 different local artists. Of course, the most important being me. I got tons of squids, and my comic books are surprisingly selling very well this year. I'm like, did people hear of me? Why is all my books missing? So it's
It's
great.
that Leog goose
It's
that
that
you've been
Leon.
waiting for.
Yes. So I'm there all day, and then I go over to my teaching at night. So I've had some 12-hour days this week, which is great. I need the money, but man, I am tired. I'm ready to go home and chill out with my family and be like, feed me, drive me wherever, give me some alcohol. I don't care, because I can drink at Dad's house, so it's cool. And he's got a big old liquor cabinet. Thanks, Dad.
I used to make kamikazes when I was a kid out of my dad's liquor cabinet because you couldn't drink enough to get drunk off one bottle without him noticing that something was wrong. So you had to just take a little bit off each. And
Oh, you
pour
mean
it in,
suicides?
Oh, suicides? Is that what you're going?
yeah.
Okay.
Kamikazes
is a
is live
little
juice and
different.
vodka.
Okay, all right. So yeah, pour them all in there, drink that, and yeah.
It's like a Long Island ice
Nice.
grossness.
One Christmas I got caught out in the snow and with a friend after we'd been drinking those, and me and my other friend both passed out cold, and he had to carry us home in the middle of the night in a blizzard. I don't even know what
Uphill, both ways.
But at this, I just
And then
found
you cut Bo open and slept inside of him.
I just found him on Facebook. I don't even know what to say. I'm like, thanks for saving my life that time, dude, because I was a big drunk.
Yeah.
So what's different in your life? Not much, really.
I snuck out of the house one time after raiding my parents' liquor cabinet, and I got over to my friend's house and I was like, "Yeah, I got some alcohol. What'd you get?" This stuff called sherry. Cooking sherry?
Fail.
Hey, you can get drunk off it.
The only time
Yeah, you get drunk off mouthwash too, but that doesn't mean you want to.
Banaka.
The only time I ever snuck out of the house, my brothers and I were all dressed up like ninjas. And we went around the neighborhood reenacting the end of Revenge of the Ninja with Sho Kosugi with the gushing gut blood and everything. So
He's only saying that to look cool. It was actually the three ninjas.
And he was Tum Tum.
Yeah.
Only Kayla would dive into what you were just saying and say, he's just saying that to look cool.
right, yeah. She's right. It was actually the three ninjas. Yeah.
Which is like the Three Amigos.
Yeah, and Cyrus was there, and he was the Beverly Hills Ninja.
And then Gymkata happened.
Where are you going with that, Jason?
Oh, that was the end.
I'm displeased.
Welcome to the end.
But what's keeping you busy right now, other than opening and trying to drink your beer?
You know what? Surprisingly little, because things have kind of dried up a little at work lately, just because it's like everybody's getting into that pre-holiday. I'm saving it all up to blow my wad on the last week of December and New Year's. So I've been catching up on some of my correspondence online. Doing
Doctor Who, you're catching
doing a
up
little
on
reading.
some Doctor
Yeah,
Who.
been watching the finished the first season, the Christopher Eccleston Doctor Who, and now I've moved solidly into the Tennant and watched the episode where he meets Sarah Jane Smith again.
Oh,
and
wasn't that
a little,
nice?
I had a little tearful moment, and I've also been going back and looking at some of the classic Doctor Who on Netflix, which I'm happy to find it's there, and even seeing some stuff like I've never really watched any of the first Doctor, William Hartnell, but they actually had some full episodes there. So
Cool.
That's been cool.
Which is to say, we are prepping for an actual Doctor Who.
we are indeed. I'm doing my homework.
As it turns out, Alan Porter, who we've had on the show before, not only is a huge Doctor Who fan, but has written episodes of Doctor Who. So he will be he in fact came to me and was like, y'all going to do a Doctor Who episode because I totally got to be on that. I'm like, yeah.
I will be skipping that one because I don't know Jack. I know he's got
You're missing out.
I know he's got like a Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure phone booth.
There's an amazing Doctor Who cake out there by one of my favorite cake artists.
Is it a TARDIS?
It's the
police
Dalek?
box.
Yeah.
Huh?
The police box, the blue thing
Looks
that he
like a
travels
phone
with.
booth.
Yeah.
No, they
That's
say
the police
mentally challenged these
I
days.
don't know. But it's just one of the most amazing cakes I've ever seen in my whole life.
I will say that walking into the Christopher Eccleston ones and having only been vaguely aware of Doctor Who, it just took me and sucked me right on in. So I was like, give it a try. Definitely give it a try, because I was like, Doctor Who, he's that guy with the scarf, whatever, I'll watch this in 4 episodes, and I'm like, oh my god, I love this shit, it's so well written.
It gets really
Wow.
cracky. You remember the old stuff where you lasted 15 minutes to and went, this is shit, the effects are shit,
No, it's-
I can't watch this.
it'll blow
things
you
are
away.
things are so much better now, and
Okay.
they are a lot of fun. I've got them all if you want to borrow
I
them.
saw one episode with David Tennant, and I had no idea what the hell was going on. I was just like, okay, this is weird. There are faces coming out of this alien skin or something.
Dude, it's a total, like, the best sci-fi show ever to sit and drink while you watch. It really is.
The great thing about them relaunching the series is you can really kind of start up on your own just watching those, and you don't have to pay as much attention to the classic stuff, the first 7 Doctors. The series started in 1963, and
Yeah.
you know I'll save this for the Doctor Who episode.
Yes.
There we
Well,
go.
how about you, Fish? What have you been doing?
Counting the seconds until I can go back to SCAD.
What? I thought you were happy to come back.
I was for like the
screw
first
you.
week, and now I'm just bored.
Well, fuck you then, buddy.
I've mostly been killing my time with Buffy and Legend, and been playing Zelda in my. Exactly, I've never.
Ladies,
like,
here he comes. Yeah.
Again, maybe you should look for a 19-year-old
I was about to say.
Kristen, because I love the link.
That could be a
No, that's
panty
the
dropper.
thing is one of my girlfriends is just like, oh my god, you've never played Zelda? Oh my god, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna.
Yes.
Wait,
Yes.
she's
Yes.
Yes, I was waiting for somebody
That's
to comment.
why you
on-
don't play. Because she's going to get...
I was
Did
like,
you
yeah,
say
I'll play Zelda.
one of your girlfriends?
It's gonna give it to him.
There's a space there, or is there?
Are you Harvey Firestein? What's going on here?
He's like a
Is
real
there
fish.
something we should know?
laying his.
See, one of my
eggs
girlfriends, I was like,
everywhere.
girlfriend, let me tell you what. No, okay, fair enough. You'd never tell us.
Everyone
if
be
you did.
quiet. Let that one just settle.
I'm gonna be
Yeah,
a
that's-
gentleman.
It's not art school, is it? It's fashion school, is it? It is, right?
There's a fashion department.
Yeah.
And those fashion kids stick out like a sore thumb and like all these, because it's mostly a nerd school.
No,
And the fashion
I believe the
kids-
terminology you're looking for is they stick out like a perfectly operating thumb in a fistful of broken fingers.
No, it's fashion school. They're like, I'm gonna put a bunch of crap on me. It's all avant-garde because I'm a fucking fashion student. Like, what are you wearing? It's very chic. No.
Well, speaking of art, the lamest segue I could think of.
Wah, wah, wah.
We did an interview a little bit earlier this week with the guys who write and draw the comic book Chew from Image Comics, which is turning into a huge success rapidly. It's basically a guy who's got psychic ability where if he eats something, he can tell everything that happened in its history except for beats for some reason. And he ends up working for the FDA, which at that point has become sort of the most powerful government agency because of an avian bird flu in their world that went out of control. Chicken is made highly illegal, and there's all sorts of underground chicken joints popping up all over the place.
Sweet,
So we
sweet
talked to these
underground
guys.
chicken.
We talked to these guys with Randy, who got him to come into his store Rogues Gallery last week, and with Jason, of course, who was there with me and working the shooting gallery that he had set up. So let's take a second here, guys. And,
So you're back on the horse shooting gallery.
With
Not-
yes,
nah,
it was an opium den,
Hey.
actually.
Well, you almost made it to January.
And what
so.
all ages doesn't mean for kids.
I'm so glad you were able to come out and admit it like that. I just wish you had waited for the meeting. But okay, let's go ahead and take a listen to this. Well, as we were just saying, this is the Leog special interview with the artist and writer behind the Image comic book Chew. We've got with us today John Layman and Rob Guillory.
That's it.
Guillory. I've actually said it right. I don't believe it.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
very few can.
Yeah, because if there's not a word, you can't go to the dictionary.com and hit the little audio button.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of screwed.
Got it.
With me on this one is the lovable Jason.
Howdy.
Wait,
And-
you have a lovable Jason?
And the not as lovable Randy.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
I thought Jason Fisher was the lovable Jason.
Well, he's not Jason. He's Fish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought Jason was the drunken mean Jason.
Well,
Not yet.
that's true, but
Like the middle of the afternoon, I'm just getting warmed up.
yeah, he's only 6 drinks in. But that's what lovable means
What
at
about
Leog. But Randy brought these guys down here because of his comic book shop, Rogues Gallery in Round Rock.
Rogues Gallery Comics and Games for all your fine comic book and gaming needs in Round Rock, Texas.
And the pimping has begun. But they'll be it'll already be over by the time y'all listen to this. But we'll be talking about it in the podcast as soon as this part is over about how
It was
great this
awesome.
event
You guys
was.
missed
Oh,
out.
yeah, it was the greatest thing ever. I couldn't believe when that one guy set fire to himself. That was amazing.
Yeah, and the strippers.
The strippers. I mean, really. We didn't even invite them. They just showed up.
We
Yeah,
we just said it hasn't happened yet.
Or did it?
Fail.
This podcast exists at all points in time simultaneously.
That's true. We are the Doctor Who of podcasts.
Go with that again.
But this book, Chew, I think took everybody by surprise.
Including us.
Including you guys.
Yeah,
I've read an
definitely.
interview with both of y'all before and after at different websites, and it seemed like you were both that before, like, well, this is just our little thing. I know it's a crazy idea. My girlfriend thinks I'm crazy or wife, I guess,
Yeah.
thinks I'm crazy for it. And then you get the after where they're like, well, we always knew that this was going to be a giant.
What you didn't see is the visuals on the original interview. They were just in like t-shirts and shorts, and the next one they were wearing the big pimp cat coats and hats, and they're like, yeah, we're comic book royalty now.
I really didn't expect you guys to be wearing so much fur.
And it's real.
Well, I did expect them to be wearing something else besides fur, though. That was the only thing that threw me off.
That's real too.
They're like anti-pedo over here. Or pedo, or however you say it. Have issues with acronym pronunciation, apparently. Well, why don't you give us a lead in? Let's go ahead and start with John. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about what this book is actually about.
It's about a federal agent named Tony Chew who gets psychic impressions from the things he eats. And it's set in a world where a bird flu has killed a few million people, and the government has instituted a chicken prohibition.
Which sounds like the most horrible thing I could possibly imagine.
It is,
So,
really,
like-
when you think about it.
Yeah, no chicken, no fried chicken, no boiled chicken,
No chicken wings.
Oh, God, you're killing me. Even reading this, it made me want to cry a little bit, didn't it?
I don't think the horror sunk in until I really started writing it, how bad this would be.
And I bet it made you hungry, too.
Yeah?
But the heroic forces of the Yakuza are keeping the chicken out there. So,
Yeah.
am I misreading that? Is not what I'm supposed to be reading into the book?
Shades of gray.
Yeah, you can read that.
So he's a Cibopath? Cibopath? You made that word up.
Yeah,
right?
there's no right pronunciation. It's
Yeah.
Cibopath, it's Chibopath, it's
I mean,
Cybopath.
cracked
It's
me up at
really
dinner-
whatever you
It
want.
cracked me up at dinner last night when you said you're like Cibopath or Cybopath, I don't know, and I'm like, you made the word up. You get to make a pronunciation.
When
though.
even the folks at Wizards of the Coast haven't come up with like some strange psychic ability, you're on top
Yeah.
of it. You know?
Yeah.
Well, it's from a root word, and I got in trouble from my old boss who knew ancient languages, and Cibo is, or Chibo or whatever, is to eat, and it's either Greek or Latin, and then pathy is like empathy, telepathy. It's to feel, but one's Greek and one's Latin, and that's a no-no. And I don't know which one's Greek and which one's Latin, but I mixed my root words up, and I caught hell for that.
Well, you invented a new word. Everybody can shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be people 10 years from now will still be discussing Cibo or Cybopathy, and your friend not so much.
Yeah.
So tell us what Cibopathy endows our lead protagonist with.
Well, he can eat things and get psychic impressions on basically what he's eating. So he eats an apple and tastes how it was grown and pesticides and when it was picked. But the more interested, he'll eat a hamburger and see the cow being slaughtered and the pickle being sliced and stuff like that. But then he goes to a murder site and chews on a victim and can, determine cause of death or, learn about the victim.
Which is, you think your job sucks.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what it is. At one point, I remember they found a finger that's all rotted, and he's got to put it in his mouth and chew on it because it's the only way to find out. Like, wow.
And that brings up one thing I was going to say is that Rob has really brings a lot to the book because part of what's going to make that work is you've got to be able to draw stuff that's just gross. And you just feel it,
and yet still light,
and still light,
fun.
yeah. But when you see that the finger or the I don't want to give too much, but the dog that has to be chewed on later on,
or what's left in the bank vault.
Actually, with the bank vault, we were a little afraid that
I was scared.
I'm
like, Rob, do we keep that off panel? Am I going too far?
And,
we had to draw it. Though. There's no way we couldn't not do it.
That's a great moment in that book.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was going to bring that up as well. A lot of comics, when they get to be, elevated into the hierarchy of comic geekdom, as it seems like you guys are well on your way to, at least that seems to be the buzz around town. It's usually the writer or the artist that people are going like, wow, this guy's great. And this is one of those few books where people are freaking out about both of you guys. Like, as much as like, wow, as great and original as the story is, this artwork, no one's ever seen anything like it. It's just gorgeous.
Cool.
You tell us a little bit, Rob, about where you came from before this?
Man, I actually grew up with just old school Marvel stuff. I mean, the first stuff I ever read was like, Marvel had the reprints of like the old origin stuff, like Steve Ditko, Spider-Man, and old school Captain America and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I grew up with all that. So like before college, I used to try to emulate this typical like superhero stuff, the spandex and the really buff guys and all that stuff. And it just wasn't for me. And at some point in college, I decided, well, I'll try something different, and discovered the Clerks cartoon. And from that, I discovered Jim Mafood.
Oh,
and from that, Dave Crosland and tons of like indie stuff that I didn't even know you could make comics that way.
Right.
Because I just didn't come up with it. So I just decided, screw it, I'm just gonna try this stuff, and I ended up mixing in all those influences with a lot of the mainstream stuff I grew up with, and kind of came up with this. And it's not so much a style as much as it's just how I think. And I grew up with a lot of Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and that kind of stuff. Right. So, like, if you look at my stuff, like the violence and the crazy action, a lot of that's from those animated, crazy, violent cartoons.
Definitely
I can
that.
see that.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Well, I love like in the fight scenes where they're doing like the big high kicks and that kind of stuff. The like it's like an exaggerated anatomy kind of thing, and it really sells the energy of it.
It's fun.
Like, especially when Savoy is laying the smackdown on the Yakuza, and when he's keeping. There's one scene where he's keeping Chew from hitting his superior officer, and the lengthy extending of the hands. It's all very
very Daffy Duck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, I was a little worried. I mean, speaking about like the poo and how much we can get away with. I was a little worried about the fight scene with Mason jumping through the window. It's just like, what is this going to turn into? Are people going to accept this being as crazy as it really is?
Yeah, when we got to issue 3 and people, like issue 2, were like, will they accept this? And then will they accept the issue 3, which was the first issue where they didn't eat something? And it's like, as soon as we had the audience there, we're like, well, we can pretty much do, I think, anything we want to do now.
Well, the thing is, your concept is so crazy. I think once somebody's on board with the notion of, okay, as a cop who can chew on things and get impressions, and the FDA is like a badass enforcement wing, and the Yakuza are selling chicken and speakeasies, once you got somebody on board with all that, they'll go with you just about anywhere.
Yeah, I think so.
You have.
And it seems clear that like the government explanation of like what was going on the bird flu and the reason for chicken being illegal is not like, it's not kosher. That's not what the actual story is. There's more to it, which is the only thing you can do, because eventually, obviously, he's got to go to the side of the pro-chicken guys, because, come on, it's chicken. I can't get past that. I'm sorry.
You got a good point.
he's got to join the chicken revolution at some point.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about the story is that it's just so wild, you really don't know where it's going. It's not predictable in the least.
Every issue is a surprise, quite frankly, guys.
Yeah, and I'm confident it will continue that way. I like picking up in a way that's not obvious.
Yeah.
There's one issue, I think 10, you can sort of see, and even 10 starts at a surprising point. So I like to not let you know what's going to happen.
Well, you play with the timeline a lot, where it would be a pretty straightforward story, except you mix up the narrative.
Yeah.
4 hours earlier, several months ago, and so forth.
Yeah.
And that helps really cheat it and bring some of the big hooks up front, and then as it plays out, it's much more effective than it would have been if it was A to Z. So.
Yeah, I'm writing issue 11 right now, and we jump back 20,000 years.
Oh boy.
Is this going to be like the monkey sex issue of Powers?
I guess it'll be the equivalent. But,
Yay!
Does this mean it's going to be a time travel or just a sort of explanation of something that maybe you need to know to understand what's happening now?
The second.
Okay, all right. Now you said you just got finished writing 11 or are writing 11.
Yeah.
No, I just read 7, which hasn't actually come out yet.
Right.
Which big surprises in there. Oh boy, massive change of the storyline. But how long? Y'all don't even live in the same city, right? First off,
it's
okay.
all instant messaging. And
So are y'all
email.
do y'all do it issue by issue, or do you send him a bunch? Do you send Rob a whole bunch of scripts at once?
Oh God, no. It's an issue at a time.
Issue at a time.
And I was ahead, and then I had a day job, and Rob started catching up to me, and then I recently don't have the day job, and so I'm concentrating on 2 scripts a month until about mid-January. I'll be so far ahead of Rob, I don't have to sweat it.
That's awesome.
I'm cool.
And Rob's fast.
That's cool.
And Rob is fast as can be.
Which is startling because, like I said, once again, the art it's strikingly original, and I think it's really catching people off guard.
It's very detailed.
In fact, y'all really need some T-shirts. I'm just gonna say.
We're talking about it.
Yeah, we just went through that battle with our parent website recently. It was like, guys, we've been out for 3 years now, and there's still no T-shirts. Oh yeah, how many emails a day do you get about those? I don't understand.
And I don't know if you guys know that Chew was the number one selling trade for
Was it
November.
really?
Yeah. The sales just came out. It was the number one selling trade.
That's amazing. What else
Yeah.
was it up against?
If
you recall.
I don't remember.
Well, the second one
The
was
Boys.
The Boys, Herogasm, and
Well.
the third one was like some Darkest Night shit.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good.
And all the separate issues have pretty much sold out.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
3 times. The first
Yeah.
issue sold out. I mean, do you know what the current eBay price is for number 1? Have you seen?
I think the madness has
Has the madness
subsided, and
subsided?
it's around $50 unslabbed, and then
Jeez.
maybe $125 slabbed.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe you should tell me these things. If you have this sort of knowledge and you know that I have said first issue.
We are looking at you, Randy.
Well, I just figured you'd want to hold on to it for historic value instead of selling it to make a quick buck.
That's worked out so well for me in the past with all 9 copies of X-Force #1.
Oh yeah.
Yes, all my hologrammed cover issues of the X-Men in the mid-'90s. Thanks so much for recommending those, Randy.
Yeah, but those books sucked.
Don't dirty that for me.
Hey, I have 5 copies of X-Force and all the cards. All right.
Nice.
So this is kind of new for both of y'all. Rob, this is your first comic, am I right?
I've done some indie stuff here and there, but this
Okay.
is it's mostly been anthology stuff. I've done like Pop Gun and some stuff for Ape Entertainment, but this is actually the first thing I've done where I'm kind of like standing on my own art-wise,
Right.
which is very satisfying. But yeah, it's kind of my first big thing, I guess.
It's definitely a big thing. I was going to say, even if you had done other stuff before this, you'd still be like,
Yeah.
this is the first big thing.
Yeah, it's cool.
Does this open up a lot of doors for you guys? A lot more opportunities and so forth? Not that
Not
you have
yet.
not that you have to get specific or anything. But,
No.
Only about to be the 7th issue
Yeah,
out.
that's true.
Sometimes people want to see with
I
comics.
also think
especially.
I burned enough bridges that some people just don't want me back no matter what.
And John, this is actually your third sort of bigger book that you've done, because you did Puffed and Stay Puffed.
Well, it depends on what you describe as. I mean, Mark, I've got, I think, on my bookshelf about 14 trades that have my name on it. The big sellers I did was Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness and House of MFF, but that's not because of me. Anyone could have written that and they would have sold. Puffed was a creator-owned thing. And a thing for Oni called Armageddon and Son, a little.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that. I love
Armageddon
that
and Son,
book.
and then a book called Bay City Jive for for Wildstorm, which was created by me, is creator participation as opposed to creator owned, and it's never been collected.
Huh.
So I've had my own, little weird indie stuff.
Is Armageddon and Son still in print?
I imagine. I think
because I have it, and I'd forgotten about it. That's a really fun book. That's the quick pitch for that basically is the son of a Bondian supervillain. Right?
Yeah. And then someone pointed out, it's like, hey, isn't this Dr. Evil and his son? I'm like, oh, oops.
Only not stupid.
It didn't sell a lot, but people who have read it seem to have liked it.
It was fun. I liked that book. I'd forgotten that was yours. Actually,
yeah. Basically, a slacker finds out his dad is an evil supervillain who the minions have stolen his plans, and this kid gets drawn into helping his dad stop his minions from destroying the world.
Huh. Okay, I had not heard of that one.
So yeah, and then I've got things. I've got a couple Xena trades, a couple Thundercats trades.
So I really misspoke.
Left Behind, I did an adaptation of.
Yes!
And that made a lot of money for me.
Did it really?
Yeah, it was one of the top-selling books of 2001.
That's awesome.
But it didn't sell to comic book stores. It sold to Christian bookstores.
Oh, okay. Did you ever do signings in support of that?
No. They didn't want.
I gotta imagine
the
that.
public.
I was just like, I'm trying to imagine you there in like a Christian bookstore doing a big signing and just you're like burst into flames.
Yeah. Mr. Lehman, will you sign my book? Fuck yeah!
It's the difference between people who like the mixture of pictures and words and those who actually need it.
Yeah. Well, I met like Jerry Jenkins and Tim LaHaye, and they're like, don't talk. So I've been trying to atone for that ever since.
Which is ironic.
At least they didn't stone you.
Yeah. By the way, Army of Darkness, Marvel Zombies. I remember reading that. The first one I wasn't quite sold on, and then the second issue you had the zombies chasing Blob down the street because he was like the biggest meal they could find, and I was just so on board for the rest of that book. It was so much fun.
Well, that was one of the cases where there's an old writer's trick with Marvel and DC where you pitch the craziest stuff you can because you want this thing to be done, but you think that the editors will ding you for it, so you pitch this crazy thing. It's a bait and switch.
Yeah.
So you get the thing you really want approved.
Right.
So I pitched all this crazy stuff, and they went for everything. So I got the Hulk like wiping himself with the Necronomicon.
Yeah.
I got Next Wave. I got Howard the Duck eating Ash's brains.
Yes.
All this stuff I never thought I'd get away with.
Yeah. If folks have not read the Army of Darkness, and have read the Marvel Zombies and like passive Army of Darkness because I don't like Ash or whatever. The Army of Darkness stuff is some of the really fun stuff in that series.
No, it really was. That was Marvel. As much as Marvel Zombies itself was supposed to be a goof, it's like a goof within a goof. It's like, and now we take away from the superheroes turning into zombies thing to get silly.
But that was a high-selling book that led to absolutely nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
But, I think there you're like going with two other previously existing properties.
Yeah,
with Chew, you've got something new, and I think people are really excited about that.
Yeah.
In fact, I keep, other than thinking about how much I want chicken when I'm reading it, I keep reading it thinking, man, I honestly think that you could turn this into a movie or television show. As I'm reading it, I'm going, it doesn't feel like it was written like with that desire, but at the same time, it's like, this wouldn't have to be all that high budget, and it's such a neat idea, and it's got such an odd visual sensibility already in the book. I can see that translating to somebody who's like, man, I really want to direct this.
A lot of people agree, and every time an issue comes out, we got a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
And we actually have like Hollywood people now because we were taking so many phone calls that we had to like get a management agency.
Yeah.
So we just say, okay, go talk to these people because we don't know what we're doing.
So you have people.
Yes.
You're like, your people can talk to my people.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
Although that sounds like, that sounds like.
See, my people are just the guys who work the register at my comic book store. But I'll still refer to them that way.
I'm so pleased we got to bypass the people. We just went because I was afraid Randy was just going to show up with, the people.
His people are easily confused, though, and busy picking fleas off of each other's backs.
Well, yeah, and it's not as impressive. I'm like, you can talk to my people. You mean that guy standing next to you? Yeah, that guy.
I tried to talk to him. He just stared at me and drooled.
That's all I can do.
Well, when you're paying minimum wage.
You can work the register, too. So.
They work for bottle caps. They think they're living in Fallout 3.
Don't tell them.
So, all right. So tell us a little bit about where this is going, because I got to tell you, the big, what's his name? The big mustache.
Savoy.
Mason Savoy.
Yeah, Mason Savoy, who was in the book for the first couple issues and then disappeared. He is my favorite character of the whole book.
He's a huge presence, and
well, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, his personality is very big, and like losing him, you almost needed someone to fill that void, which is where Colby came in.
Right.
Because I see Tony Chu as like Seinfeld, who he had this like supporting cast, and Seinfeld was really the least interesting of them, but you needed sort of a straight man for like the crazy characters.
Yeah.
Now that being said, 6 we introduce this partner, and everyone likes him.
Yeah.
And then we take Tony and we put him on an island for the next 4 issues.
Sorry, no more of that for you.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, Tony is definitely the straight man, but you've got all these interesting characters around him, whether they're adversaries or allies, and so you can sort of play with that. You definitely don't have any trouble creating an ensemble. I mean, there's so many characters in these books, and every time you introduce one, I'm like, I love this character. I love this character.
Yeah. There's in the second story arc, I think we introduce about 3 more really major characters to the cast.
No, are you thinking along the lines of we're doing this, introducing all these characters, and eventually it's all going to come around to being a bigger ensemble piece?
We're just rotating them in and out.
Yes and no. Like some of them, some of them show up irregularly, and then some of them play, a more regular part.
Okay.
So a little of both.
Savoy's coming back though, right?
He'd have to, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I'm just making sure because I like him a lot. Yeah. He's looking like he's going to be the wisdom of the book, that character who's eventually going to bring Tony over to.
He'll be in the last issue. He'll be like, so that was true. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
I don't know. It seemed to me like there could, it could very well turn into an arch villain kind of thing as well.
Yeah, that's true. So. I just don't want him to. I like his character.
I think he'd still be great either way.
And it appears like there's going to be a vampire subplot going on here at some point, which I guess if it's a book about cannibalism, that only would make sense they would enter into it at some point.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and you do not have to confirm nor deny.
Okay.
But I'm going to say that this might not be a traditional vampire. It's probably going to be something real fucking weird.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm not going to confirm or deny that one.
Yeah, I do love. That's one thing is like the ideas about the food, like the Chibopath or Cybopath or however we decided to pronounce it in the ages when it's been decided, and then
I'm just going with Cibopath.
All right, let's do it. Cibopath. You created the word. You get to call it.
Until I forget tomorrow and call it something else.
Amelia Mintz with her ability to write so that people can taste her reviews. I mean, these are great ideas, and I love that it's all in this sort of food milieu.
Yeah.
But it's like food-based superpowers, and I mean, you could do this book for a while just doing that kind of stuff and coming up with these different powers and building the characters around it. I mean, I love seeing all these different things pop up. I mean, Amelia, when that character showed up, and when I remember reading the solicitation for it when we were ordering it from my store, Rogues Gallery Comics and Games, Round Rock, Texas, and
Pimp number 2.
And the description, the solicit was so perfect because it was like she writes. It just described that she writes these reviews and she writes with such precision that people can taste the food, but after the ban of the chicken, she's protesting by grading only D-grade restaurants, causing people to vomit when they read her reviews, and just that, I'm like, this is the best book ever.
It's hilarious. I want that ability, and I would damn sure use it for evil.
I don't want you to have that ability. So, John, do you write the solicits?
Yeah, but lately I've been going the Kirkman route.
Okay.
And just being like, WTF, vampires.
Okay.
Or
you don't want to give too much away.
Coming up as cannibal versus man-eater versus bloodsucker. Or just keeping it really short for a while just because it's easier.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, as an artist, how much input do you have into the story and like what you want to draw and things like that?
I don't know, man. Usually whenever I get a script, it's very, very dense. I mean, a 22-page script,
it's
comic
about 40 pages.
Right, it's pretty dense.
Wow. Yeah.
But at the same time, like, we have this cool thing going where it's very dense, but at the same time, I can choose a lot of times what I want to add or what I want to change or subtract. I mean, there's been several times where I'll kind of propose something. Like in issue 3, the terrorists are... I decided to dress them like Frenchmen. Just for like an inside joke kind of thing. And I kept telling John, I was like, yeah, I'm going to dress them like Frenchmen. They're going to have like the berets and the little, all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, fine, whatever. And then I drew it and sent him the page. He's like, I don't know, man. This is too goofy. I don't know, man. But little things like that. And usually it ends up working out for the best.
It's never not.
Yeah. I mean, the poo is the same thing.
I'm so glad you guys showed it. I think you needed it.
That's a great movie.
I used to be an editor at Wildstorm, and there were a couple of writers, some deservedly so, some were like A-list, but a couple like B or C guys who'd be like, no, the artist, this wristwatch has to be on the right hand, have him redraw it. And it's like, I'm not really a control freak. Like if Rob, I want to give Rob the latitude to do whatever he can, and I think there's been 2 like minor redraws that are like, add this thing.
No, which writer would it be that you were talking
about? I haven't drank enough Maker's Mark for that.
Let's
another drink.
Yes, John. Let's make sure and burn John's reputation in the industry on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Burn it further.
Check the internet, see if it's been canceled yet.
Oh, sorry guys, book's over.
By the way, I got to say the French. I think the French thing with the egg terrorist works because. Food terrorists, of course they're going to be French.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the joke was I was talking, because the bird flu thing is kind of a parallel to 9/11.
Right.
I started joking, like, after 9/11, the French became like a point of real hatred.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, you're treating them like terrorists. What if they actually were terrorists?
terrorists?
And they may not even be French. I don't know. I have no idea. But no one ever said anything about it. So, cool.
I'm gonna echo Randy and say I really like the whole aspect of the food related superpowers. I keep thinking like the natural next step. I mean, if you've got a vampires, you got the monster with powers that are into the food, and you got the 2 psychics. You need to have the food magician that has to make recipes and perfect recipes that cause magic abilities.
Maybe I need to cut your mic off.
You be quiet. Doctor Strange is the best still. I don't care
the
what
next
anyone says.
thing that is introduced is a guy who is a mute. And he communicates through his cooking.
Okay.
And he's a classicist, so he translates the works of Shakespeare or an opera or whatever into a dish, and he's like one of the exclusive chefs of Europe because he cooks this stuff that like moves audiences to tears and stuff like that.
I like that.
Well, in this begs the question, what kind of drugs are both of you on?
Rob is straight.
I'm extremely straight.
No.
He's on all of them.
There is something very deviant going on in this room.
I've got enough vices to make up for it.
I was going to say, you've obviously never listened to Minor Threat. This guy's pretty deviant, but straight as they come, and you're just like, no, seriously.
Because I was reading it, and it was just like, yeah. Somebody in this equation is real fucked up.
Another one, Frank Zappa. Never took a drug in his life, according to him. I don't believe it still, but he swears up and down.
Yeah,
and I don't believe you either, Rob.
I think mine just comes from damage as a child. I was exposed to just horrible, violent cartoons.
Yeah, I was going to say, Warner Bros. Cartoons is not unlike early drug use.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That is true. After I started watching some of the stuff I missed along the way because I was too busy doing drugs, I was like, man, I could have saved so much money. So what's going to happen next? I mean, where's Chew going for you guys? I know you have a limited span, you've got a plot.
That's what I was about to ask, if there was an end game.
Yeah, there was an ending, but I can't write something without knowing an ending, so I could never do an open-ended ongoing.
Has Image agreed to a certain number of issues, and that's...
Well, I think it's just your call, right?
Yeah, it's our call unless it starts flopping so bad that Image says, no, we can't afford to do anymore.
Okay.
We're not in any danger.
But you do have a point picked out where you want to wrap it up.
Issue 60 is what we're saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like the issue 60 as an ending.
Yeah, it's worked for Y, it's worked for
Preacher,
for Preacher, for Transmet, more or less, and
pretty
not
much,
quite 100 Bullets.
100 Bullets went too long, and I think it's an argument for 60. 100 Bullets, if it had been 60, it would have been much more focused and tighter.
But they'd have to call it 60 Bullets.
Are y'all going to be both on this the whole way through? Is that the plan? Okay.
Until I piss off Rob and he quits.
And then he'll take his half and say,
until we get Hollywood money and I head to Tijuana.
No, don't go to Tijuana.
You going to do any spin-offs at any point, you think?
No,
There's no Jack or Tony Chu of Fables type of thing?
Things are popping up, but now I can't imagine doing it without Rob. And I don't want to water it down. I've even had some some really big names offered to do us variant covers, and I just want it to be us.
No,
you
I
know?
think that his work is
very cool.
distinctive, and yeah, I can't imagine wanting to do it without him either. Both of y'all are so integral to the book and
Yeah.
the look and the feel of it. Yeah,
Well,
no,
that's very flattering.
It would honestly, I want to say derail, but that's not the right word. It's a little too harsh. It would honestly really pull someone out if one of you were to go.
It would diminish
Yeah.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
it would. I mean, if the art were to change, anyone would know.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if they got someone who was like you, which no one comes to mind right now, but if they did, you would know.
Yeah.
The readers would know.
Yep.
What's interesting also, it's a two-man show thing.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of that. I mean,
Rob does all the art and the coloring. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Coloring too.
yeah, because I remember seeing. We were looking at it, and I was talking with my the manager Dave of my comic book store, Rogues Gallery Comics Book and Games.
Round Rock, Texas.
3.
And he was looking at it, and the instinctive question was, "Oh, who's coloring this?" And I'm like, "No, it's Rob. He's doing everything."
And that's actually why I wanted to do my own coloring, because I didn't want, and maybe it was an ego thing. Like, I think I have a slight chip on my shoulder where I really didn't want anyone to say, like, well, he's okay, but his colors is really the guy who's saving it. Like, I didn't want that.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had anyone else color my work or touch my work or ink my work or anything. And I really, there's a part of me that really wants to do the two-man show for 60 issues and have it be completely awesome, because I've never really seen that done before.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So-
Rob is a control freak, I've learned.
I am.
And so am I. I do the lettering.
Okay.
And then I do all the production, and we deliver Image. Image has to lay in the TM and the masthead. And other than that, we lay. We
That is
give them,
awesome.
Yeah, and because I've seen too many bad. I'm a letterer perfectionist, and that's not to say my lettering is perfect, but it's the way I like it.
Right.
And most letters I'll look at who've lettered my books. It's like, that's not the way I would have done it. And so Rob gives me the finished page, and then I'll add the lettering and smash it together so it can't move in production. And we deliver them a finished product because we're both too anal to trust anybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you've said you're already several issues ahead of time, so Image is pleased you're not one of their many books that they have to wait, take several month breaks in between issues because they're like, oh, sorry, we're not quite done.
As an ex-editor, you learn a lot of lessons, and you aspire to not be the headachy guy.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Right.
No, I know a lot of the reason that happens is because a lot of these people are writing 15, 20 books. Are y'all satisfied with being focused on just this for now, or are you auditioning for possibly doing extra work on the side?
I need to make more money at some point, and that point is January.
So expect the 3-month break between two issues.
No, but I'm going to get far enough ahead that, a full-time comic book writer can usually write a book a week, and, some of the, I think probably someone like a Bendis can write more. I can't, and I don't think I could do more than 4 a month, but I could definitely do 2 a month. And it's nice to be working on one book while you're thinking about the other book, because right now I'm finishing an issue with Chew and jumping on to the next, and you almost need like a germination period.
Yeah.
So I want to get something, if for no other reason, just to slow me down and let me think about the next issue.
Well, are you at liberty to say what that is, or do you know what it is yet?
What?
What's your next one?
I haven't even looked.
Okay.
I'm not even thinking about it
Okay.
until I reach this point in January. It's all Chew until I
Gotcha.
get done with either 12 or 13.
I would imagine that both of you guys are doing, enough business here for Image that they'd be glad to introduce you to anybody that you want to be introduced to as far as
John knows everyone
Yeah,
in
I've
the
been in
industry
comics
pretty
since
much.
95.
Oh yeah, that's
so
true. Yeah, you were edited Wildstorm, which everybody worked for at one point anyway.
So it's just a matter, and I've written a lot of video games. That's where I sort of
Really?
I just wrote. I just did a 2.5-year stint at Cryptic Studios, writing Champions Online.
Oh, nice.
And then the game came out, and I think I could have stayed, but I after 2.5 years on one MMO, I was done. But I may do some more video game work too.
Okay.
'Cause, I've written like God damn, I can never remember the name. But I've written like a Metroid Hunters for the DS, and
nice.
Bella's Dangerous Hunts, and Soldier of Fortune. Soldier of Fortune Payback is what paid for Chew.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. What's that guy's name? John, the lead character in Soldier of Fortune.
payback, dude. Don't put me on.
he just had to reach and get Soldier of Fortune back.
Yeah, it's based on a real guy.
I think with Payback they changed the
Oh,
name.
okay.
too,
Did they?
so.
Yeah. I know in like the first two, it was like
Yeah.
the same guy based on an actual mercenary.
No,
or
the
something
third
like
one
that.
was from a different studio. It was from Activision Value, whose
Oh.
games are a little more quickly put out, and
Okay.
you know they're cheaper, and
I'm-
there's
I'm-
maybe a reason for that.
I think it was John Matrix, right?
John
Matrix.
I don't want to diss any potential employer.
I hear you. Yeah. No, I hear you. We read between the lines. We got you. So, Rob talked about some of his influences. What are some of yours?
I don't know. You know, I'm super old compared to Rob, and I've been reading comics since like the late 70s.
It's true.
I totally pull that on all these other guys all
Yes.
the time.
But you know, I've read superhero stuff, but I always like I got my start with Star Wars comics, and then ROM, and then Micronauts.
Rom, hell yeah.
And you know, I read Marvel stuff and DC stuff, but I also I read Cerebus forever, even when I probably
Even when he'd gone insane.
yeah. And
Thanks, Randy.
you know, you kind of, for a time, all these like independent people, you know, they wanted to make their own Cerebus, and if this is my own Cerebus, that's fine by me.
Hell yeah.
So you know, I like superhero stuff, but I don't necessarily want to. I don't want to be like, I guess like Bendis writing. I wouldn't want to write 4 Marvel books if it was offered to me.
Right.
Not that it would be offered to me, but you know, one superhero book I'd be happy with, but probably not. I don't want to do a creator-owned superhero book either. If I
do
my
more
own
like
thing,
what Robert Kirkman is doing.
Yeah.
Take a book at a time.
yeah, but I wouldn't want to do an Invincible. Like if it's up to me, I'm not going to do a superhero book of my own thing. You know, I'd love to write a Spider-Man. You know, love to write certain characters, but
Well,
not.
what would you, if you were to pick one?
Plastic Man.
Plastic Man.
Good choice.
Nice.
I like Plastic Man too.
I've got a great Plastic Man pitch that's just waiting for DC.
I think that's very fitting for your sensibilities.
Yeah.
I can see you adding your own odd spin to it.
How about you, Rob? What would you really like to do?
After Chew, I don't know. I mean, growing up, it was always like, yeah, Spider-Man, X-Men, that kind of thing. But now I'm so satisfied getting to do my own thing. I don't really have any interest in doing like a Spider-Man or any of that stuff. I don't know. I have a few ideas of my own that I like to do. I would love to do some more stuff with John because I can't imagine like working with anyone else. I've worked with a few other writers and like he's like,
I'm awesome.
he totally is.
The check's
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wait till issue 60 and we'll see. Come back to us. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
That son of a. No.
So maybe you didn't look closely enough at that contract when it comes to Hollywood residuals, but you get none. Well, you know what, guys? I was so glad to be able to get you on here and talk to you because this book, the first trade paperback of Chew, just came out. It's called Volume 1, Taster's Choice. It's by John Layman and Rob Guillory. Man, you guys, I can't even tell you how much you just knocked it out of the park on this one. You really
Thanks.
did.
Yeah, we never expected the reception we got.
It's
Right. And that book is on
phenomenal.
sale at Rogues Gallery Comics and Games in Round Rock, Texas.
Actually, I think they're sold out.
Shut up.
I think I have the last copy, like, there in the kitchen. Will be returned to the shelves here within the next few hours.
Well, thanks, guys, for appearing on our humble little podcast. The greatest podcast of all time.
Yeehaw!
Is that what humble means?
No.
Oh, shit. I always get that wrong.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, thanks for coming out, guys. So yeah, we'll and see you later tonight then.
It already happened.
It
That's
already
right.
happened.
We could all be dead right now.
In our timeline, it hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, John Byrne.
Okay, so what do you guys think? I think we
I choose that as my favorite segment.
Oh my
Ah.
God! I'm going to stab you in the rectum
Stab you.
I was thinking about that
with a
one for
broken
while.
beer bottle.
While I was listening to that segment, I was thinking about that.
I'm hurting inside that
Hey.
you chose to go there.
Hey Cyrus, you know what we did after that Chew interview?
Yeah.
We,
What'd you
we
do?
had me and Grant's birthday party.
You did. That's right. We didn't even think. Oh my God, that's true.
I remember no such thing.
Well, that's because I only remember parts of it too. I was there.
Yeah, I
that was
think
that
most
point
people
where
walked without
It's kind
remembering.
of a moving blob over my mind's eye with I remember that we went to Vietnam a lot.
Yeah.
I think that there was
You
that
made
point
Asian girls
where
cry.
we were drinking off a bottle of Makers, and then Chris Nicholas from Staple showed up with a bottle of Japanese
whiskey.
Scotch.
Suntory single malt.
And I was like, oh, I gotta try that. Oh, and then I was like, hey, did I have any of that Java? I can't remember. I'm going to go ahead and I got to try
He's
that.
like, will you give me the
10
fucking
minutes.
bottle back, you swine?
And it was good.
It was delicious.
I just remember Jason molesting fish.
Oh, there was a lot of fish Jason
that?
loved going
Yep.
on. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Yep, I fucked him till he loved me.
Wow.
God.
Oh, my God.
And then
That's
there
the
was
most disturbing thing I've heard all year.
We have a
shoe/birthday
video.
cake.
Oh, I do remember we
Yeah, no, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah.
we
Correct.
did go to prison at one point.
No,
We went to a gay bar for sure.
Oh yeah.
Now, I want to bring Kayla brought it up, and it was nice of you because you're usually the cake person, and Allison did. I didn't even know she knew how to make cakes, but she did a thing.
Who could possibly know?
A
how to do
prominent
something like that?
plot point from the early issues of Chew is that there's a dismembered finger that's found on a burger that one of the characters has, where the main guy has to chew to try and figure out where it came from, what its past is, who it belonged to, and Allison made this astonishing
Severed
finger cake where it
Oh.
even had
She
the bone
researched
running down
where
the
the
center.
veins would be so she could put the Twizzlers in the right
Oh, good Lord.
places.
Yeah. And it was tasty.
If you
too.
think Allison has skills, you have no idea. She made this cake, and it was just like, holy shit, you are MacGyver of like crafty things.
She's worked in 3 cake shops.
I
so-
didn't even
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's professional.
One of her ex-boyfriends was probably a baker.
Yes, exactly. And she also made
A
the
horrible
But
baker.
the nail was astonishing.
the
Like, it
nail
looked
was like,
real.
it looked like a real nail,
and it was
yeah.
gross. It had the brown stuff under it.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the thing is, as you cut into it, there were like veins and shit in there. It was like the bone running through it with a cartilage. And
yeah,
everything.
with the Rice Krispie
It's
bone.
like, oh my, yeah, I know. I was like, this is like.
I'm beginning
so-
to suspect this wasn't cake.
What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
It tasted blood-delicious.
She
And-
killed a giant.
And then she also made the Yakuza door to the speakeasy.
Oh, that's right, she did.
Yeah, which she took like a plain wooden plank and made it look like this rusty, tetanus-infested thing that you would find in a dark alley in downtown Philadelphia.
It was a
or something.
speakeasy because I was supposed to be like the illegal chicken joint. So you
Yeah.
knock on the door, say the password, and they hand you out a plate of chicken.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was
Took a wooden
really
plank
stunning.
and made it look like the worst bathroom in Scotland.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know,
It was
dude.
incredible.
I think it would look worse than that. I'm just saying. I don't think that bathroom would have a door. Is all I'm saying. But back to the party. The best party one of the best parties I've been to this year.
Brilliant time, and I was very glad. Yeah, every single one of you was there. I was glad all of you could make it.
It was tons of fun. I mean, I can't believe having a birthday party, let alone a birthday season, as it seemed to turn out
Yes, it
for
really
us.
was.
Because it spanned over more than 1 month.
If you milk it, it can.
For
Yes,
those of you, just to
indeed.
catch you up to speed, for those of you who could not come to my birthday party because you're all over the world, we got a private karaoke room for me and Grant's birthday, and all the Leog folks came, and it was just an absolute blast. Oh, a BYOB private karaoke room, so.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
we know
great
you can only imagine how much trouble that
Yeah,
turned into.
put Leog in a private room with their own booze.
You couldn't
for
see the
4
table.
hours.
They brought so much.
And Cyrus sang the most beautiful rendition of your song I think I've ever
It really
heard.
was.
You can tell
really heart-rending.
everybody
Yeah.
that this is your song.
I just may.
Yeah, there was
Cyrus, when you sing Elton John, it makes me want to claw my eyes out.
Well, to be fair, I was doing the Moulin Rouge version of it.
It
Which
was.
even on the karaoke,
It says, yeah,
it
Ewan
said
McGregor.
Moulin Rouge. Yeah, Ian McGregor version. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the fun thing about it is that every now and then just some random Korean song would start playing, and of course,
Because we couldn't program the remote properly.
yeah, none of
It
us
was
speak
also
Korean.
Yeah, that thing
and-
was weird. It looked like a speak and spell.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
like
It was a giant fucking remote.
with a bunch of Korean symbols on it. So we're like, I don't know what something's wrong. And then the videos for
Yeah.
these goddamn things that had nothing to do with the song.
But they all ended with some Asian girl crying.
Yeah,
Yes, they
you,
did.
You could pull
which is
up,
how most of Bo's dates end.
Exactly. You could pull up, say, Cyndi Lauper's She Bop, which is a new wave-ish early 80s tome to female masturbation, and it would be a bunch of Korean guys in prison playing with a baseball. What the fuck?
They
I
were,
totally
they
get
were
the
also
connection.
contemplating the conjugation of Shebop.
Well, that's true. They were.
Well, you know what? I got to take this opportunity here to segue yet again. Even though I have nothing to segue with, I'm just going to...
Shebop.
We didn't...
You can't go on
Shebop.
that?
Female masturbation.
We did an interview
Fungus
with
monkey.
Leon and I, and Grant did an interview with one of the animators from the site, a Fungus Monkey,
Who more than likely masturbates. There you are.
who has been popping up. Well, he is a man.
Masturbator fungus monkey.
And he knows a lot about computers.
He also hooked me up with a bottle of Johnny Walker Black Label, so props
Really?
to.
When did that happen?
Yeah. Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, you bastard.
That was at the Halloween party.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So I got technically hooked up then too, because I think I had some of that.
Did you?
I may have. Who knows?
Son of a bitch.
There's a point that everything gets all fuzzy.
Yeah, that was another one of those Leog parties that was like, was I there? Did I have fun? I hope so. Didn't
It's
take pictures.
so nice that so many kids listen to us.
Do not do as we do, kids.
I actually got a message from somebody just yesterday that said, "Thanks so much for your advice about various things. I heard you saying that Monopolova is the best vodka, and now I'm a serious alcoholic." I'm like, "What? Don't do that. No, you asked what vodka was better."
I do it when I'm playing in Pokemon tournaments
Maybe
since
we
I'm
should
13.
Talk more about the consequences of our actions here at Leon.
We are
Oh, no.
How many nights have we all spent in jail, etc.?
we are the pasty fat after picture. Don't go there.
Don't be us. Don't be us, kids. My liver hurts.
Drinking's fun, kids. So's killing hookers. Just letting you know, you're Palpo.
The more you know. But let's listen to this interview real quick with Peter / Fungus Monkey, who is not only a serious commentator lately on pretty much everywhere on Spill, for God's sake.
He's ubiquitous.
Yeah, he is. He shows up absolutely everywhere.
And had a badass Halloween costume.
He really did. He played the guy from Metalocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his name? I don't know the character's name.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
The one with the orange
Pickles.
stringy hair.
Pickles?
He played Pickles the drummer from Metalocalypse.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it
great,
was awesome.
Great outfit. But who actually talks a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes at Spill, and then just generally us shooting the shit. So take a second and listen to this one. It's a very special filling in the blanks, Leog, here at this Christmas time when everyone is like, all the members who we usually can't get rid of are like, yeah, I can't come.
That is funny how we keep saying like, hey, we need to like shorten the cast, not have everybody show up. Everybody shows up every week anyway.
Yeah.
And now this one week, nobody wants to come.
Yeah. They're like,
Which is fine.
Yeah, that's fine. It's good. We're funny people. We don't need everybody. We've got me, you, we've got Grant, who graciously agreed to appear, and this guest for this one.
I don't have anything to do.
Yeah, you just sit there and be like the guy from there. Okay.
And fetch us beers when we run out.
He's the Ed McMahon of the show.
Exactly. And then we've got Fungus Monkey, the beloved Fungus Monkey.
Fungus
who
Monkey.
starts more fights in our forums than anyone else.
Do I?
No, you don't.
Okay.
But I'm often
hope not.
I'm often surprised because you like to like Leon does, throw that internet kerosene on situations sometimes.
That's
And
what I was gonna say. I kind of walk in, I poke the bear with a stick, and then I wander away for a while, and then
you have noticed
come
because
back to
people
the
will be like,
aftermath.
"What? How dare you say that?" And there's not a response. And like you come back later saying something else incendiary. I'm like, good for him.
Well, the thing about Fungus Monkey that I began to notice, besides being one of the heaviest commenters on Leog,
because I have no life.
well, clearly you don't, because I'm like, okay, this guy just said something that I almost would have considered trollish, except that he really is listening. I mean, you have to listen to the entire show to have comments this detailed. And I talked to Corey about it. I was like, hey, I want to have him on as a guest because he's one of the animators on Spill. I was like, it'd be great to have this guy on here. And he's like, I was like, he comments on Leog all the time. And he's like, he comments on every podcast all the time. So, like, where do you find the time?
And news articles and movie postings, and literally, I'm just on the site all day. I
Damn.
know that sounds really sad, but as I'm working for the site, I've got 8 hours, 9-hour block during the day where all I do is I just listen to the podcast, I animate, and then I just check the page every once in a while. I'm like, oh, hey, that's a cool article. Type in a comment, back to work.
All the listeners are like, yeah, that's sad.
I know. So it's like I can't comment on that because I'm not allowed to bite the hand that feeds me.
Yeah, they go to the window, try and open it up. Sunlight comes in, like, never mind.
Somewhere,
Back to the
It's
computer.
such a horrible life I lead,
Somewhere Nate
my
is like,
champagne
fuck
and
that
millions
guy.
everywhere.
Now, just in case anybody doesn't know, I mentioned that how you're one of the animators on Spill, and
I am, yes, sir.
And there's not a big crew of you, so you guys really bust ass getting these things done because we don't give you a whole lot of lead time. And I'm not going to go into the mechanics of it all, but how'd you come to find yourself in this job?
Actually, it's kind of a weird story. Originally, I was from. Well, I've been all over. Basically, like I've had the Barbie version of the lifestyle. I just kind of switch jobs every year or so.
Changing names.
Yes.
Kill,
in between
kill a
killing
few,
the hookers,
changing
I
Kens.
changed names, moved to a different city. It's a whole thing.
He's the real life stepdad.
But I'd been stuck in rural Southern Oregon for forever, and literally it was slowly killing my brain.
And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna find an animation job, because up in Oregon there's nothing like that. So I hadn't been working in animation for
Now there's a
2-3
huge
years.
comic book scene, at least in Portland.
Yeah,
I
see,
mean,
that's the
Dark
thing,
Horse
like,
Comics is
North,
there.
North Oregon, if I'd moved up to Portland, that would have been great. But I was stuck in like backwater rednecks.
Yeah,
Oh,
with
man.
the
Southern
biggest advance
Oregon,
they have there
logging
is
towns
the biggest
and-
advance they have there are double cassette players, so they can bootleg all their Dead concerts.
Do they
That's
have
pretty
those
much.
You know what's funny to me? It's
That
like
must have been new since I moved.
no matter where you go in this United States, there is some redneck area, and they all have the same accent, no matter where you go.
Are you saying that's what Peter's accent is?
No.
Do I have an
Okay.
accent?
That's
I
you
didn't know
saying
this
that.
one. I'm
Calling me
asking.
Mr. Internet Kerosene. You're trying to start a fight right now. I just said nothing like that.
I was just
don't
reading
have
the
no
cue
accent.
card you wrote.
Anyway, Pete, please continue.
And so yeah, basically I just gave up one day and I was
Yeah.
like, screw it, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna pack up all my shit. I'm gonna sell off whatever belongings I need to sell off to get gas, and I'm gonna move somewhere. So I just basically put down a map and I decided where do I want to move. And so I started naming off cities. I was like Chicago, no, too cold, don't like snow, don't like ice. You know, moving around, and then finally I was like Austin. Austin's perfect. I'm a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. Love the blues. Love music, video games. They have whole industry here. And so I was like, okay, so I'm gonna move to Austin. That's my thing. So I started selling all my stuff, and while I was selling all my stuff to save up money to move to Austin, I just started looking for jobs. I interviewed a couple places, and nobody was hiring.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
dead
we go
economy.
through waves like that.
And so like I was starting to get worried because like I'd already put in my notice for my job and everything, and I was, the U-Haul was rented, stuff was packed, and I'm like, oh crap, I am fucked. I'm not gonna make it. And so literally like I think it was 2 weeks before I moved down here, Corey just out of the blue, he wrote me because I had done an animation for Let's Do This with
The
Goatsy
Goatsy?
Go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just as a fun little thing, I just did it in my free time kind of thing, and I posted it because I figured they'd like it because I've been listening to the site for forever.
Yeah.
And what's funny is even before I worked for you guys, I still lived lived on the website. I just may not have been as vocal until I actually worked here. And so he just writes me up and he's like, "Hey, you wouldn't happen to be an animator, would you?" And I was like, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I am an animator." And he's like, "You wouldn't happen to need work?" And I was like, "Yes, I do need work." "Well, you'd have to move to Austin." I'm like, "Well, funny story. I just happened to be moving to Austin." And so it was just a weird kind of
Man, that is a Cinderella story you just told
karmic,
there.
cosmic coincidence, whatever philosophy you subscribe to, it just kind of all connected at the right time.
Austin is that magic brigadoon where all the romantic stories come together of one kind or another.
Your
Slowly
dream can
rises
come
from
too.
the
True, also, Spillions. You can work for Spill.
I mean, that is a testament to like, being a creative person who just does what they love, and you just submit. You don't just think about what you want, but you're actually doing it and throwing it out there, and then it catches.
Yeah,
He was just a leaf in the wind.
And now he's living the dream.
I am living the dream.
That's truly inspiring. How long you been working with Flash and doing animation?
Actually, not that much.
Really?
It's another also funny story. I'd kind of gotten a base knowledge because I went to school in San Francisco for about a year for animation, so I got kind of a basic rudimentary 2D animation course in there, but I'd actually gone to school for 3D animation.
Uh-huh.
So I actually have most of my schooling in 3D animation, character animation. I was in San Francisco at the Academy of Art College, actually on the Pixar block.
No kidding.
Yeah, that was the goal back before all the different moves and stuff like that, was that I was gonna go to college, graduate, get a job at Pixar.
Yeah, I've been there.
Animate all that, and I'm glad I didn't, because they're Disney now, and that's the Black Death as far as
You
I'm
think so?
concerned.
Really? Because
I do think so.
with
Because
the amount of control that was, I don't know if you read about the contract that they signed, but Pixar is completely its own thing. Disney doesn't get almost any say-so at all. In
you
fact,
see-
less than it did before.
that's what they say, but I actually know some of my classmates who were in that block now work there, and they say that's not what it's like at all.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they
So
say
my-
do they say it's oppressive? Because I bet they get the best benefits in the world.
They do. They have great jobs. They get paid ungodly amounts of money. Just the site
not
that they
seeing
work
the
at.
Women
Yeah, I was gonna say,
everywhere.
and I didn't want that bullshit.
Make them wear pants.
Oh, you got to go to work every day and get up at 10?
Exactly. It's a great cushy job.
The
but
slippers you have to wear, not that comfortable.
from a philosophical standpoint, though, a lot of them got into animation to try to do new things, interesting things, and try to break out of that Disney thing. Because Disney has kind of a reputation, at least amongst 3D animators, as kind of the Drek of the world. 2D animation, great, but
Wow,
for
really?
3D animation, a lot of 3D animators just really don't like Disney because they cut corners too much and they skimp on story when
Wait,
they
they're
should.
saying Pixar skips on story?
No, Disney.
Oh yeah, but Disney, they aren't even doing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all Pixar doing
Disney's
this.
whole entire old animation department has been closed.
Exactly,
And
so-
replaced by Pixar's people.
'Cause I think Meet the Robinsons was the last non-Pixar.
Yeah, I
Disney?
believe it was.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like Meet the Robinsons and Chicken Little.
Chicken Little was shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
She
that's-
called it chicken shit.
And that's kind of the example of what Disney does. But then, so they got excited because they worked their whole lives. They're working at Pixar. They're living the dream. And all of a sudden, Disney goes, hey, we've got armored trucks full of money. We're going to buy everything. And they just picked up the company. And the problem with that is that basically from the way they tell it is that they went from having conversations and discussions with all the team about new movies and new ideas and new plots and, pushing forward and continuing the Pixar trend of only original stories, no sequels, no big moneymaker things just for cash kind of thing. And then all of a sudden Disney took over, and within weeks it was, hey, we're going to be re-releasing Toy Story in 3D.
And doing this sequel, Toy Story 3.
So-
Okay,
so
I see your
now
point.
half you guys who we hired, instead of working on new animation, you guys are going to be sitting in a room and you're going to be animating scenes from a movie that's 14 years old or whatever, however old Toy Story 1
I don't
is.
even know off the top of my head.
You're going to be reanimating those in a new 3D pipeline for 3D cameras. That's all you're going to be doing. You're just going to be resetting up the scenes for this new camera system.
Right. Well, I mean, I get that. I mean, I think it sounds to me like the problem isn't really that the company is doing anything bad. They just came in at a boring time. I mean,
And
Toy Story
maybe.
3 they've been talking about since Toy Story 2 came out.
and
It was
so-
always going to be done. I mean, it was always part of the plan to do that as a trilogy. And as far as the 3D thing goes, I'm as unimpressed by, the whole let's turn everything 3D thing as it sounds like you are. But, I guess Pixar just wants to cash in a bit on that. No, I don't think that changes the entire company dynamic.
See, they said it was just that sudden, though. They said that it was literally like, okay, we're working on this and this and this. Like the last two movies they were working on before Disney bought out was a movie called Newt, and the other movie was Bear and the Bow.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what either of those two are about, but basically, literally the day after Disney bought them out, they started getting memos about, okay, we're going to be doing this and this and this, and
Sure.
none of them were new. All of them were Toy Story 1 in 3D. We're going to be releasing Toy Story 2 in 3D. Then we're going to be doing Toy Story 3. Then we're going to be doing Cars 2. Then
Right.
we're going to be doing Monsters Inc. 3.
See, I hadn't heard Monsters Inc. 2. I hadn't heard about sequels.
They're in talks
to
for it
that.
right now. They're still working
When
on it.
the only
It's
sequel I really want to
like
see
5
from
years
them
out.
is The Incredibles.
Yeah, me too.
It's the only
I hear
one
the
that
Bear and the
seems
Bow
suited
is
to it.
still underway though.
Yeah,
As
because
well
it was
as-
it was the last thing in the pipeline before
Oh.
Disney took over, and Disney's not planning on making any other than Toy Story 3, which is original but still a sequel. They're not planning on any original movies for the next 6 years.
Well, we'll see. I still have confidence in John Lasseter, who seems to me to be in many ways the guy who saved modern animation in America. I mean, he's the one who said, "Look at how all these other people around the world are doing it right. We need to talk to those people and bring in some of those ideas here." And sure enough, he did. Like I said, I'm not willing to condemn Pixar at this point.
And I
It's a little
don't
quick.
mean to I don't mean to preemptively write on their grave or anything. I'm just saying that a lot of them are not very happy about the direction they're taking, and
No,
so
fair enough.
they may pick it back up. They may just kick out a bunch of sequels and then start back up in the good Pixar stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised if part of the deal was, okay, you get autonomy, but we also want you to go ahead and do a few sequels. And they're like, well, shit, as long as we get to do it with our druthers the way we want to do it, then I'm like, shit, after as good as Toy Story 2 was, I'm like, well, I'd rather they do new stuff, but at the same time, what the hell? We'll see.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, there's as compromises go, that's not that bad.
Besides,
I think.
they have a bigger budget now too, so it could be like your friends are just in that department.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then
Like-
with Disney picking up Marvel, there's talk about maybe a 3D.
Yeah,
Spider-Man
dude. What if
movie,
you like
a 3D
if
Thor
you were there
So
and you quit,
that's
you're
kinda
like,
cool.
I don't want to do Monsters Inc. 2. I'm out of here. And then right after you leave, they announce they're gonna do a 3D Avengers movie.
Dude, we're doing we're doing the Inhumans.
Yeah.
Fuck. Why?
They gave us the green light to do the whole Civil War. God damn it.
With a different ending.
Yeah. We're doing World War Hulk, except we're going to make it even bigger, bringing in everybody.
So, Peter, how long have you been working for Spill now?
Since August, so not very long. Just a few
Not that
months.
long.
Man, it has not been that long.
No, it has not.
So has it been a positive experience overall?
It has been everything I thought it would be. It is absolutely dream job.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. When you say everything you thought it was going to be, I was going to
right,
say,
here
oh,
we
I'm
go.
sorry.
No, I mean, like I said, like
I mean, we've worked with Corey a long time. I know what that can be.
Like I said, I mean, I lived on the site before I even got the job offer from Corey, and then once he asked me if I'd animate for him, like I basically like told him like yes before we even got off the phone. I was like, yeah, I'll take it.
Well, man.
He's like, well, we can't pay you that much to start out. I was like, oh, that's fine.
So Corey has you animators all like in one little shed.
Yes.
And he comes walking around and kind of whips you guys, inspects all your work.
No, we're not in the shed. That's very mean. We actually have a cave.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Because we didn't want to put up any like buildings.
It puts the captions on the screen, or it gets the hose again.
Well, I will say that like I think everybody noticed how the animation really stepped up once you guys came on. You and the other, Peter and Peter.
Yes, and that was all me. Yeah, the other Peter who we call Turk is probably going to kill me for that, but yeah. No,
but he doesn't listen to this.
It's all him.
Of the two Peters, you're the cock of the walk, then.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm the one that says yes.
Yeah, I heard
it's
you're
me.
the better one. I'm just saying.
I've heard that as well.
Well, cool, man.
From
So
everybody.
you comment on, I don't know about the other podcasts, but you comment on Leog all the time.
He does on the other ones as well,
I
which
know.
leads to a question.
It does.
Of someone who actually listens to all three. Why is Leog the best one?
Leog is the best one. Put the gun away.
Have another
put the
beer.
gun away. No. There, please, they have me tied to a chair. Someone save me.
You'll be rewarded with hookers.
No, actually,
They're dead already, but
Well, yeah, but they're not smelling.
yeah, necrophilia is not that bad. It's like being with a real dog.
Not compared to some of the stuff we get up to.
That's true.
Very cold. Real dog.
You just pretend she's
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it's like. What are you talking about?
Just pretend she's one of the vampires from Twilight.
Again, those dead hookers. I don't know.
So, but no, seriously, what are you into? Like, what drew you to Spill in the first place?
Honestly, the podcasts. I mean, I love the reviews.
Seriously?
Because
Really?
as an animator, I love the reviews. I like the style. I love the segue bits. I love the reviews. Every time a movie came out, first thing I did was check Spill to see if you guys had your review up, that kind of thing. But yeah, there's the podcast because 3 times a week I'd have music to listen to at work.
Cool.
So it's just like I just kind of listen to the podcast and then that was it.
Well, you are so knowledgeable in every area of geekdom.
Well, and like I said, that's part of the Barbie lifestyle. Is I've done everything. So yeah, I read pretty much 90% of the comics that come out every Wednesday, which used to cost a lot of money. Now they don't cost a lot of money, but I'm not going to say why they don't cost a lot of money.
Okay, I got to talk to you when this is over with.
I'm just going to say that there's some comic books I pay for.
Okay.
Some I don't.
I'm of the school of thought of I pay for as many as I can afford to.
Yeah. See, I pay for the
which
good
is a
ones.
lot, but still.
Yeah, I make sure that like if I like a comic book or if I like the writer or the artist, I definitely pay for it.
Yeah.
Because I feel that they deserve their money. But stuff like Spider-Man, which I would probably use as toilet paper if I wasn't afraid of what it would do to me. That stuff I get elsewhere.
It is toxic.
By
yes.
other maybe not so legal means.
I can't even bring myself to read it, so
I check it out every so often just to see what it's doing.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be that one day, I figure, like, eventually it has to have that point where it flips over.
The retcon comes back.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
somebody
all that,
comes
but that'll
none
be,
of that happens.
that'll be the word will be in the pipeline before that happens.
You're probably right. I mean,
You know.
because like with the whole clone saga that everybody hated, that went on for a long time before finally somebody came in and said, okay, enough of this shit. I'm going to erase it and fix it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like that.
But isn't
like
that
yeah.
kind of back again?
Yeah, we had this.
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
It's
no,
back-
there's
it's back again.
There's a movie called Brothers. It's the Clone Saga. Jake Gyllenhaal is Ben Riley. You
After
didn't know
seeing
that?
Spider-Man 3, I
Natalie
couldn't believe
Portman
it.
is the Jackal.
Wait,
hot jackal.
is there jazz dancing in it?
No.
There can't be a true Spider-Man sequel without jazz
X-
dancing.
Would you guys get off the jazz
X-Men.
dancing?
Oh,
for Christ's
how can you
sakes.
get off of that? That was like, that was the moment that the franchise jumped the shark.
Really?
Well, I
Yes.
think
That-
it's also.
that's the moment.
I think it's
Because
when
I
the-
could go
see,
back.
there were-
I could
there were
go
many
back to
points-
Spider-Man 2.
There were many
it
points
jumped the
where it was
shark.
like, oh, that's crap, that's terrible, that's bad. But the second he starts going, dig on this,
See,
that was it. It's like,
To
no,
me, that was
fuck
Raimi
I am
playing
out.
it up for humor, and everyone I talk to goes, No, he's not. I'm like, yes, he is, you moron.
It's so
It's supposed
clear.
to be
It's
a
like
joke.
all these people who accept and love Army of Darkness,
Yeah.
which was a complete
Total
farce.
goof. Yeah.
But then they see that scene in Spider-Man 3 and go like, oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it's like, you really think this is supposed to be played off serious? Plus, it's like, man, he's supposed to be all hot. It's like, no, he's not. He's walking down the street, and women are scowling at him
Yeah.
because he's such a douchebag.
Exactly.
You're supposed to be a douchebag.
Well, and see, the thing is, like, he bonds with the symbiote. The symbiote is supposed to unlock his innermost, darkest feelings,
Right.
darkest thoughts, his anger, and that's it.
Exactly.
Do you not
That's the
understand? Like Peter Parker is shown to be such a geek and such a uber nice guy.
Yeah.
That even at his most evil, the best he can do is just be a douche.
And see, that's where
yeah.
I can't hop on board because I think that Peter Parker as a character actually does have some seriously traumatic incident in his life that would create darker feelings than that.
The
I mean,
problem
I'm
is
sorry,
it's Tobey
even-
Maguire. The problem was from day one it shouldn't have been Tobey Maguire.
No, because Tobey Maguire doesn't look anything like Peter Parker.
It should have
or
it,
act like it.
It should have been
Spider-Man should.
Venom.
I think the
What's his
only
name?
problem with that sequence that really made it fail was what they did with his hair. Because it's like all of a sudden whenever his suit is on, he has emo hair. And when he doesn't, he doesn't. I was like, well, that doesn't even make any sense. That was just, that's annoying.
It's
that they're doing
symbiote
that.
gel.
Yeah, right?
Right.
He's got moves.
Shoots
Hey,
a little bit in his hand. And
to the symbiote, that's what's cool. Like, oh, you should wear your hair like this, Peter.
That symbiote is 13 and loves My Chemical Romance.
yeah, it makes it hard to take him seriously as a character if his darkest thought is, hey, I'm going to have the neighbor girl make me more cookies.
I think that you're actually misunderstand the character of Peter Parker 1,000%.
And
you say he
you're
has a
right.
darker part.
Well,
yes,
that may be my problem because I feel that Raimi himself has completely misread the character.
That's why I did
feel
mind
like by
it.
the time we got to the third movie, this is a Peter Parker that it's that universe's Peter Parker. It's not the one from the comic books. It's just but he
And I'm just not a fan
but it
of
didn't
that.
jump to that. It was a slow evolution to what it was. It's just like, if you go like that's not the Peter from the comics, it's like, well, no, it's not. This is the Tobey Maguire Peter Parker.
Leon and Cyrus, you have to admit that everyone else aside from you two does not like that scene. I mean,
well,
guys,
not everyone.
you guys are such Spider-Man apologists, just
Most
like
people.
Jason is a Phantom Menace
Yeah,
apologist.
but there is one huge difference there. The Phantom Menace sucks.
And Grant, you can't say that about me because I gave you like 20 reasons why I don't like Spider-Man
You
2.
gave great reasons why Spider-Man 2. Now I have to look at that differently. You kind of ruined it.
Yeah, I've heard your reasons, saw it, don't agree. So
Really?
I still think that's the strongest of the three.
I don't. It just and really I love Spider-Man 1 so much. I went into Spider-Man 2 so excited. And it just crumbled for me from the beginning. And I was just it's one of these where I wasn't like from the beginning going, that sucks. I was just like, well, I'm not liking that, but I'll just move on to the next thing. Okay, I'm not digging that either. Okay, this doesn't make sense. All right, that this character has his motivations don't work. Oh, come on, give me a break. And then by the middle of it, I'm like, man, I actually don't like this movie at all. And it continued to do things. I was like, oh, you got to be fucking kidding me.
You sure you weren't just in a bad mood that day?
No, I was, dude, I was going to the premiere of Spider-Man. You think I was in a bad mood? I was on top of the world.
There's only like one thing I liked in each movie: the introduction of Peterman.
Peterman.
Yeah.
No, he's right here. He wasn't in the movie.
Of Spider-Man's powers, how he's getting them, and like he's trying to practice his powers in the first one. I really like that. In the second one, I loved the train sequence.
Yes.
And in the third one, I love Sandman.
Yeah, how can you
And
not love
that
the
was
train
about it.
sequence in two?
The
That
train
was so
sequence was
awesome.
Dude,
great,
that's
but-
the thing. I do like. I mean, like when it comes to Spider-Man 2, the only thing I like is the train sequence. However, as I was telling Grant, it's like, look, Dr. Octopus is a regular guy. He might be crazy and have a little retard strength, but he's a normal person. Spider-Man, who we see stop a moving train, punches him in the face 3 times, and his head doesn't come flying off.
To be fair,
Or it should have at least been knocked out.
it's such a regular thing in Spider-Man comics where he mentions that he pulls his punches with people he knows aren't superhuman.
Oh, yeah.
It's mentioned all the time.
Oh,
so to suggest that that's
could
the
have put a
case,
little extra stink on it.
No. Yeah, thank you.
It's like
I mean,
if he's not going down after the first punch, maybe.
Yeah,
put a little-
that's my
put a
thing. I was
little
like, look,
more
I don't
behind the
expect him
other
to decapitate Doc Octopus, but if the first punch doesn't put him out, I'm sure he's going to add a little bit extra and make sure, okay, this motherfucker's going down.
Yeah, but it's in degrees because even so, he go that second, all right, fuck this, I'm taking him down, and shit.
I think at that point though,
Cougar
you
punch.
take that chance. You take that chance.
I'll go back to kitten punch one more time.
Rip the
Let's see what I
guy's
do.
balls off. It's not going to kill him, but it sure will stop him.
Yeah, he could have done that.
He could be a chimpanzee man.
See, I want to know what the actual octopus arms were made out of. Because Peter Parker, lifts cars,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
stops trains, everything, but he can't just like grab one of the arms and just yank it out.
Dr. Octopus makes these arms.
Oh, I think they even say they're. Don't they say they're?
Are they adamantium? Are they vibranium?
No, I
Are
thought they call them a vibranium mix.
okay, see, that's what I was
This
wondering.
shouldn't have been brought up among you
No, that's
two.
that's the ultimate thing in like Marvel. Whenever it's
Yeah.
like, well, this
They'll come
character
up
could
with something.
easily do metal. They always make it an adamantium or vibranium mix.
Oh yeah,
of
Captain America's shield, which is a mix.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, well that's their explanation, which is fine. I mean, at least they've got it in their mythology to say, and I'm pretty sure in 2 they do say it's actually made of like some, super metal.
I'll have to go back
that's
and
true.
watch, but
These,
yeah, I
these,
can't
these,
remember.
these super powerful arms that could help the handicap so much more than this little sun thing he's got going on is. I mean, that's a press conference in itself. However, hey, well, what's going to stop those arms from taking over your brain? Wait, hold on a second. What would make you even ask a question like that? But now that you did, pay attention to this tiny little chip on the back of my neck. And as long as that doesn't go out, everything should be fine.
Yeah.
Oops.
No backup system, no redundancy.
No,
just the chip. That's
no,
it.
just this
That's
tiny
fine.
chip that I'm gonna let you see. Make sure if you see sparks come out of that, then we're all fucked.
I still think you're nitpicking. I mean, the first one had a much bigger problem with the villain, which is that he looked like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. in
Okay,
his
but
armor.
take away how he looked,
Which is pretty important.
He had a strong motivation.
He should have had a regular mask.
I didn't buy
He should have had a regular
I didn't buy Dr. Octopus's motivations at all throughout the entire movie. I mean, okay, he loved his wife. That's not a reason to terrorize the city.
No. Tell him about the bank thing.
Oh yeah, it drives me, this drove me nuts. I was sitting there watching it, wanting to love this movie. Everything
there
was
you go.
happening I didn't like. I'm like, that's all right. I'm gonna
Poke in the
shake it
mirror.
off. But when
some walks
Dr.
away.
Octopus goes to rob a bank, I'm like, why the fuck is Dr. Octopus robbing a bank? Oh, he wants to get money so he can get his equipment and redo his experiment. Why doesn't he just steal the equipment? Why would he get money to buy the equipment? Steal the equipment. What's he gonna do?
Actually, I have an argument for that.
He's gonna rob the bank?
It's scientific equipment. It's a lot easier to buy those anonymously somewhere from a corporation than to go to the maybe 5 places in the world that actually carry that stuff.
Oh really? It's easier.
Sure.
It's easier with 6 arms coming out of your body to anonymously buy this shit. What's he gonna put
Wait, he can't use the internet because he's got 6 arms. He could use 6 laptops.
Oh, I'm sorry. A wanted criminal has a bank account that the authorities have not attached it, have not confiscated.
Wait,
What's he
now
gonna-
see you're making excuses
See, he
now,
just- he
dude. I'm
gets the-
sorry.
he
You're
gets
going
the cash.
you're going deep into it to the point where you're just like looking for defenses
No, I'm
that
not
are
giving it-
sillier than the attack you're
No, it
making
just,
on
it
it
just
yourself.
didn't make sense that he was robbing a bank. I was like, what's he
I
gonna-
totally
He's
understood
gonna walk
that.
up to the military installation with these sacks with dollar signs printed on them and say, yes, I'd like a flux capacitor, please.
No, obviously not, because he can order the parts. He can get them from other places. He can get them from other sources.
He can
He's
get
a-
'em from
He's a
Craigslist.
goddamn criminal. He can do all sorts of stuff.
The only point was it looks cool and he's climbing the building holding money sacks.
No, he probably
It
doesn't
looks
even know where the
cool.
building is that they sell them at. All he knows is the order form he has at his warehouse with his scientific stuff.
Right.
So
and
he
those order
orders
forms go
again.
through your checking account.
Yes, he could make a new checking account. People do that.
No, he can't.
Yes, you can. You can totally do a new checking account. The guy is robbing anything he wants. How hard would it be for him to set up? I could set up a fake electronic identity.
Account, do they ask for your ID?
Leon, I could set up a fake electronic identity if I wanted. It's really easy to do. You're
It's
telling
true,
me
it's very
Dr.
easy to do.
Octopus, a genius, couldn't do this?
That's one of those things that's easy to say. Oh, it's easy to do. It's not so easy to
Oh,
do.
please. Oh, yeah. Neither is robbing a bank, but he does it in the movie.
Dr. Octopus is a genius, except when he can't set up his own email account.
I know.
How do I work this thing?
I have an email account already. How do I set up another one? I don't understand.
He calls his nephew and he's like, I don't know what button to push.
Yeah, if you can fix this thing.
Billy, it is Otto. I cannot function this mouse.
I'm trying to go on the eBays.
Honey, I'll be back. It's my creepy uncle. Oh, I hate that guy.
He's always pinching me, and I can't figure out how.
Which Eastern European country is he from anyway? It's one of the ones that don't exist anymore. Just, I'll be back. And if I'm not, call the police.
Yeah, it's the one next to Lever.
Yeah, made up via.
Made up via. Yeah, what the fuck is Stan?
All right, so back to Peter, and not Parker. So you've been hanging out on the site for a while. We've already established that Leog is the best podcast.
Lurking,
so that much is clear.
Yeah.
Have you started any fights yet with anyone?
Actually, I try not to.
Do you have any enemies?
I was actually shocked to think that I actually start fights.
No, you're just very opinionated, which
Oh,
isn't a
see, that's
bad
true.
thing.
See,
It's
that's
not a
very
bad
true.
thing, but I know there are always people I've noticed on the forums when someone comes in very strong in their opinion, like 2 seconds later there's a I hate so and so forum. So it's like, fuck them, man! How dare they have a different opinion than
I'm
me?
usually about to type,
State it.
screw you,
See,
and then I'm like,
kinda
oh wait,
like
that's
a-
Peter. Can't do that.
It's kind of like when you're working in a corporate situation. They have what's called a compliment sandwich. You say something nice, then you say something really mean, and then you say something nice, so that they think that you said something nice about them overall.
Sure, yeah.
So that's kind of, I think that's kind of what I do on the forums. Is like I'll start out with like, well, I kind of get his point, but he's a dick. But I did
As
like that he
dicks
said
go.
this.
Wow, that's genius.
And you know what? That's not.
But you're an asshole.
Yeah.
That's
I'm an
genius.
asshole. But
He's really
at least I
nice.
showed up on time.
Nice, Grant.
But I'm punctual.
Yeah, I've gotten to where like with that corporate speak, whenever somebody like says that nice thing, I'm just like, come on, get
Here it
to
comes.
it. Just chop me down.
He's
Yeah,
really nice. His mother's a lousy lay, but he makes a good pasta.
No. You're a really talented guy, and we were lucky to have you. Unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go. However, I'm going to write you a great recommendation because you're so cool.
But we freed you up for other opportunities.
Aren't you lucky?
Like the unemployment line.
So what's your favorite movie, Peter? Can you nail it down to one?
No, actually I can't.
What was
Okay,
the first thing that popped in your mind when I said that?
First thing that
though?
popped in my mind was Back to the Future.
Really? Okay.
But that's just
Nice.
because I
Nope,
am
sorry, that's it for all time.
Yeah, sorry.
I am a massive Michael J. Fox fan. I
Sure.
don't-
Why wouldn't you be?
Just
He's
that
awesome.
section of the 80s with Michael J. Fox, like that and
Secret of My Success.
Secret of My Success.
The
Teen
American
Wolf.
President.
Doc
All of those,
Hollywood.
just-
The
you
American
gotta like Michael J.
president?
Fox.
What?
And I don't know why I picked Back to the Future. It just first thing popped in my head.
That's good. It's one of the people always say, "Is there any trilogy? It's good all the way through." I'm like, well, there's a couple, but one of them is definitely Back to the Future.
And see, I thought Back to the Future kind of dipped a little bit in the second one, just because.
The second's not as good.
Ah,
the
the
second
third
one-
one is the.
The second or the third,
The weakest.
the second and
See,
the
that's the
third
thing.
are not as good as the first, but
Yeah.
that's not saying that much.
See,
They're
I
still
love the
really
second
good.
I really liked the
Because
third
the
one because it
future-
had that whole like past steampunk kind of. He had to build all of his own crazy inventions with his own bare hands and metal. That I liked
Plus,
that.
ZZ Top.
Yeah.
But then 2 was definitely an 80s movie. He goes in the future,
That's
everything
the best
is like.
part about
I
it.
love
Bright
it. Here's a
fluorescent
trilogy where I
hats.
just have to stand back and watch.
Yeah, because you've
Ah.
only seen the first one.
Yeah. So you guys fight it
But
out.
you get
See,
power laces and
these
that
guys-
jacket with the lazy arm.
Yeah,
Leon-
I like that it was like the Elseworlds version of the future where it's all
Man.
fluorescent colors.
Leon and
80s
Corey always
music
make fun of me because I'm a big Huey Lewis fan, but I wouldn't be at all if it wasn't for this trilogy. I could give a shit about Huey
Gotta
Lewis.
go back in time.
I literally started playing guitar because of Back to the Future.
I started skateboarding because of Back
See,
to the
there
Future.
you go.
And I stopped a couple years later.
Although no matter how hard I've tried, I've never gotten that amp. That's my new life
Oh, the
goal
big
is
super
to get
amp?
the big super amp, and then the very very small guitar to play into it.
That's good.
Well, you've worked on a bunch of different reviews. I was wondering what has been your favorite review to animate.
Oh wow, it's a good question. I don't know.
Yes, well. Dead air time.
It's like,
You gotta pick
wow,
something.
Canned question. Honestly, I think my favorite so far has been I worked on, and see, I don't know if how much
Oh,
I'm supposed to
maybe-
reveal.
Yeah,
here.
yeah, maybe. I don't
Maybe
know.
I don't know. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Stupid question.
We'll just say my favorite review since that we as a team have worked on.
Yes.
Probably the Inglourious Bastards review.
Oh, right on.
Just because any review where they have Tarantino and Brad Pitt carving into Hitler with massive blood gushing everywhere, that's a good time.
Right
You
on.
don't get any happier than that.
Man, the end of that movie, just when all of a sudden... Oh, wait, I guess that'd be a spoiler. It's
No,
probably
please.
still out.
No, please.
Okay.
Continue.
It's on DVD.
Of course you would encourage this behavior.
See how he gets
Wow, you turn it back to being me.
See how he gets his flunkies? You're now a flunky of the spoiler. You're the guy who gets in fights with the big crash pow logos around you.
I didn't spoil anything yet.
Yeah, you're getting ready to.
I
though.
backpedaled.
So
keep peddling.
All right,
I just like the
well,
end.
moving away from the foreboding topic of the animation, which your Terminator bit I thought was very excellent.
Did you do the Paranormal Activity one?
I've pretty much worked on everything since I've started, so I've had little bits. But
So it's all you guys working on every one of them.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
It's a team effort.
Yeah, it's kind of Corey is very good about he runs the site. I mean, like that site,
It's
that
his life. You
animation.
don't have to tell us.
Yeah, I mean, that animation would not be as cool if it was
Yeah.
not for Corey, because he knows very specifically what he wants to do and when he wants to do it, and so he kind of splits us up in teams, and he's like, you're good at this, you're good at this, I'm gonna have you do this, I'm gonna have you do this part, I'm gonna have you make this, I'm gonna have you make that, and then we'll all pull it together. And then we just give it to Corey, and he puts it all together, and
That's
awesome. What you get.
Because when we first started, his biggest problem was in delegating responsibility to other people.
Oh my God.
And it's because he's been let down by a lot of people who are like, okay, I need
True.
you to do this, and then it comes in late or comes in wrong, and he had a hard time trusting. And he's finally gotten to that point where he realizes, look, this is not going to work because the human body requires rest on some degree.
And honestly, it took him 12 years to learn this.
But he has gotten it now, and he's really turned from somebody who was freaking out at first to a pretty good, darn good leader of
Yes.
the site, I think, of really making it work in a way that it was just kind of struggling at first.
Well, I've always said that about him. It's like even when he came up with something new where it'd be like everybody's like, man, that's going to be horrible. And I'd be like, you know what? I didn't even like the sound of it when he said it.
But
But
I'm
I
gonna wait
trust
and
him
see.
because he's done things that I thought this is going to be awful. And then when he's done, it's like, oh, wow, dude, you really knew what you were doing. Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. It took me a while to learn that he has a vision in his head of something that he wouldn't have even approached if there wasn't a way to do it and make it funny. And 9 times out of 10, he is right.
Yeah, and on those 10th times when he's wrong, like one of his missteps was doing the Gear and Sphere cartoon, which was just like, man, this sucks. However, it led to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
I mean, it really directly led to Spill, so you can't take that out of the timeline.
No, I'm sure it'll show up on a DVD extras someday somewhere.
on a This Is Your Life episode.
I hope it's just an Easter egg. So you got to search to find it.
I can't speak for everybody else, but I know that Corey is my favorite boss in the world. Raise time.
Well, let's all take a moment
Raise.
to wash the taste of Corey's penis out of our mouth. As tasty as it may be,
I didn't say anything.
except for Grant.
Although I suppose I should talk to co-host first, because according to co-host, he got me the job. It was all co-host. Corey had nothing to do with it. It was all co-host.
Yeah.
Co-host
Yeah.
picked
Co-host-
me out of
co-host
the
says things
ether,
like
and
that.
co-host said, "No, that's the one right there. You will hire him." And I got hired, and it's all co-host's fault.
that one? Oh!
Although according to co-host, it was more like, "Corey, you will hire that man."
I shouldn't
There
be
I
doing
go.
it. Why am I doing the impression? We have Grant.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
No, that was great. I couldn't have done a better job.
I think,
No, you will hire that one. You sound like a gremlin.
I know. I can't do impressions. What do you want from me?
So Pete, what comics are you enjoying the most lately?
Actually, you know what? I'm a big fan of New Avengers. Pretty much from the start of
Same
the
here.
run till now. I mean, it's just it hasn't really dipped out. I mean, even during the whole Skrull invasion, which I thought was kind of
Yeah.
weekend points, it's like New Avengers is pretty much every week.
No, of the
Good
18
go-to comic.
of
It's
the
just
18
never
Avengers
bad.
titles, it's the best.
Yeah, and Mighty Avengers is just. I think Mighty Avengers is just scrambling for foothold, because it's like, well, who do we have in here? We're gonna have this cast. Oh no, that's not working.
It
Let's
always
get
feels like
these
they
guys
should
or-
rename Mighty Avengers to like something indicating it's just the leftover bits from around
Exactly,
the rest of the
five
storyline.
random guys from the Marvel universe.
The
We're all
Refuse
together.
Avengers.
Well, it's like it's
Yeah.
always these stories that are like filling in the gaps of the other big event, whatever big event is going on
That's
at that point,
true.
or at least it has been for like the last 3 years or so. Whereas New Avengers kind of keeps more to a continual story.
For the most part, except you get issues like the whole thing recently where Sentry is shot in the head by his wife, but then the next issue he's flying around, they don't address it at all. Then they're all flying to face the Molecule Man and they disappear.
Exactly. See,
But-
that's one of my biggest problems with Sentry in just general, is that I have no idea each week whether he's alive, dead, crazy, sane, high on drugs, imagining things. Because like every single week it comes out and it's like, oh, he's dead this week. Oh, now this week he's premiering in this comic.
I'm
Oh,
convinced.
this time his wife shot him. Oh no, this one his wife's dead.
I'm convinced
Yeah,
it's
it's
all a writer's plot, so that at some point, whether it's before or after they oust Joe Quesada as editor, they can go, see, everything up before the Mephisto was all dream. All that after stuff, it wasn't real. Just look at the
right there with
Sentry.
you.
It was right there in front of you the whole time.
Well, he started as a hoax character. It would make sense that they'd end him as a hoax character.
Yeah,
But it's like,
there's so many
is he
things
dead?
they
Is
could.
he alive?
There's so many
It's-
things they could do that play into that just seem bizarre that they've done. You know, like, oh, does Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme now? It's Brother Voodoo? Really? A third tier tiny little Marvel character is the Sorcerer's? Okay. Hey, there's a female Black Panther. What?
That is the kind of thing where, like, once you add it all up and you say to somebody, "Come on, you didn't think all that was real, did you?" It's like, well, now that I look at it all together, you're right. I was stupid to believe that.
Rule 63, Black Panther. Yes. For every male character, there must be a hot female version of the character.
So, are there any indie comics you really like other than the mainstream stuff?
Let's see, indie comics. I'm trying to think of what's good. I'm actually liking Underground right now. It's only 3 comics in, and it's kind of still.
Who publishes that?
That was the one that Harris was talking about.
That's
before.
a good question.
Oh,
You know, I
right.
can't remember who publishes it off the top of my head.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
it's
Harrison.
kind of picking up.
IDW?
I don't know. It's one of those comics where it's like I get it every week to see where it's going
Mhm.
and hoping that it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
Because in like 2-3 issues, if it's not going anywhere, I'm just gonna drop it. But yeah, I think that's. And then pretty much everything by Warren Ellis, if you can really consider those.
Well,
indie comics.
he writes
'cause
for
he's-
everybody.
Yeah,
So.
and he writes 20 books a
Was it
a
that
week
Avatar
or-
comics
Yeah.
that's all his?
Yeah, Avatar's.
much.
Well, it's not just him. Like, I think Mark Millar writes for them too.
Right, and Garth Ennis writes. Well, like I only read the Garth Ennis book, Crossed.
Do you? Okay. I gave up on Crossed.
Did
I
you
was like,
really?
Really?
I was like, okay, this is exactly what people were saying at first that it looked like. I was like, no, come on, it's Garth Ennis. He's not doing this just to do a gross out book.
See, that's
And
why
by
I like
issue
it.
4, I was like, okay, this is just a gross out book. That's
Oh,
all.
okay. Seriously, it's such a cliche thing to say, but the longer you read it, the more you realize it's not that.
But I've read 4 issues and it was.
Okay, I'm on issue 6, and
Oh, in 2 issues it gets all plot driven.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm on the opposite side of that. It's the Saw franchise of the comic book world. It's strictly there for good, fun, crazy violence, and like, oh, how are they gonna dismember and kill this person this week? And oh no, here comes the Crossed people. They're gonna. Oh wow.
I don't know, see,
I didn't
it's an
think they'd go
extreme
there.
version of The Walking Dead. And whereas with The Walking Dead, like, you know, you just read it and you have this hope that they slowly tear away from you. And with Crossed, the hope is snatched out pretty quickly
Yeah,
early
yeah.
on.
It's like, no, you're fucked.
So,
You're just-
so there's no like my heart's not breaking every time, but I still enjoy the writing and love the book.
I don't know, it just takes away the when right out of the starting gate, you know, they start with like gang rape and stuff like that, and I'm just like, oh, God, this is awful. And then after like two more issues, I was like, okay, they're doing this every issue. It's not affecting me in any way. It doesn't even have shock value anymore. It's just kind of getting boring.
And he
That's
found
the
he
point.
found some new things to do in the last couple of issues.
Oh, they're going to be more shocking. What's more shocking than gang rape by zombie people?
It's not even so much
Zombie
shocking.
crazy
It's
people.
more of a. It really does still have some mystery to it. Like, where is this? You know, what's the ultimate goal with this, and where are they going to go?
I
and
think it's to make money.
how are these people going to survive?
Is Garth Ennis going, someone went, you couldn't possibly do anything more twisted than you've already done. And he's like, oh, yeah, fuck you.
Here we go.
I think he uses
Grab a
hero.
pen, Junior.
I always think Hero-gasm is where he really like gets to go
Oh,
off
geez.
and be as dive into debauchery as much as he wants
Yeah,
to.
I haven't read that one, so.
Yeah,
Anything,
that's
anything
one.
with the boys is.
Yeah,
I've read The Boys.
If you're reading The Boys or Hero-gasm, you pretty much have to go in just going, okay, I'm going to see some fucked up shit, but it's going to be fun along the ride.
See, I like The Boys. I do. I enjoy The Boys very much. I mean, yeah, sometimes it gets so dark you're like, as you're squirming away from a comic book while you're reading it. But it is fun and it's got cool characters and you want to know where it's going to go. With Crossed, there's just no plot. It's like, okay, it's just a series of sequences leading up to people getting more ass rape.
And
It's,
Boys
I
has-
don't know. I don't want to see that.
Well, Hero-gasm is where like all the superheroes, they tell the world we have to go fight this crisis on infinite Earths and we'll be gone, and they go to like an island like hedonism where they just get
Just
to
a
do
big
every
party.
sexually deviant thing that's ever come to their minds.
Drugs, booze, hookers, super-powered hookers.
That sounds pretty awesome.
It is awesome.
Unless you're one of the hookers, then it's not so.
Well, yeah.
good.
Oh, not so awesome. Yeah.
And it's got Simon Pegg in it. How can you not love a
Wait,
series
has
with
the-
Simon
How
Pegg
does the
in it?
comic have Simon Pegg in it?
He's one of the boys.
He's the main character.
Oh, like he actually is
he's-
supposed to be Simon Pegg?
He's Little Huey. Yeah, even even the artist has admitted that Simon Pegg was the inspiration for the,
Oh, I
the
see.
character,
Okay, all right.
for the design, and even
Fair
Simon
enough.
Pegg has done
Said
interviews
yes.
where he said,
Yes, I am.
I am honored, and yes, if that's what they want to do, that's great because I love the book.
Kind of the way Samuel L. Jackson was with his retake, the ultimate retake of
Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Plus, he had to, I'm sure if he didn't figure it out, his agent did. Like, look, if they ever make a movie of this, you're a shoo-in.
They can't cast anybody else. You're going to have to be dead for them not to cast you. And even then, they might buy the rights to your voice and modulate it in a
CGI.
computer with CGI.
Yeah, exactly. They'll do like they did with Schwarzenegger in Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, that didn't work so well.
I thought it was awesome.
I'm sure you did.
Oh, dude, everybody loved that.
You can watch that
I
over
didn't.
and over again, and I'll watch Spider-Man
Oh,
2, and we'll see who wins when we get to movie heaven.
See, I'm going to disagree with you there. I did not love that. Terminator
That's what they-
Salvation just.
Wait, you
pissed
didn't
me
like
off
the
start to finish.
Schwarzenegger part?
I did not because
it was poo.
the thing is they
you're
built
full
up.
of shit. I just watched it again recently. It's
I thought
awesome.
it looked awesome. It looked so much better than anything in Avatar.
Oh, see, now just be quiet. You two are both. Go to your room. No dinner for you.
See, I don't know, like all 3D animation where they use digital actors coming from a 3D background, like I am way picky.
Oh, you're
like
one of
I can
those.
spot things where it's like that does not look real. That looks terrible. But besides that, like that's not even what bothered me about it. What bothered me about it is just in the context of the story. They take so long. Like watching it in the theaters, I could tell that they were going to introduce Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was like, oh, okay.
Really?
This is the point where, because right in the movie, you can tell right when they start going, oh, we have another plan. We've got something. We're going to take care of him or whatever the line is. And then like it shows the banks of all the things, and then like once you see the smoke and the feet, you're like, oh, it's Arnold. And then he comes out and it's like,
at that
whoa,
point,
yeah,
I do
it's like,
too.
yeah.
But I'm just saying they build up to it so long that like who it is before they even get to that door shot.
See,
You're like,
you're looking
they're
at
gonna
like,
bring
oh
him
yeah,
out.
you know who it was. I was like sitting there like, oh please let it be.
No,
let it
I was
be,
looking
let
at
it
it
be.
like it was like, come on guys, get excited. Are you really excited? It was like a pep rally,
And it
but
was like,
in a lame,
it's
obvious way.
young
it was
Arnold
like, Who wants
Schwarzenegger.
to see Arnold Schwarzenegger?
And I was
Even
there
if
like
it
going,
makes
me,
no sense.
I do. And he came out and I was like,
You could just move to California, you know.
He was like, oh, I don't want to see the old ass Arnold Schwarzenegger with the big gut and the man boobs. I want to see that young one who had metal inside of him.
Yeah, you didn't see him.
Leon had his Team Arnold shirt on. He was a little teen girl in
Yeah,
Twilight.
you can be all
Team Kyle Reese.
Yeah, I'm
all team Robert Patrick.
See, I'm the exact opposite. When the door opened, like the only thing is just in my head, I just heard a little wah 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 wah.
Wow.
Oh, dude.
I thought that was like the
Like,
only good part of the movie.
Yeah,
It was one of the high points of the film, which doesn't say a goddamn thing as
And
far
another,
as
and
quality.
another thing that bugged me, they have an entire warehouse of robots, and they sick one robot on them. Like I was expecting like a cameo from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It didn't make
'cause they
any
had to
sense.
do it.
Hey.
And I was like, if they're gonna put robots on them, just do.
We don't need to nitpick them.
You don't have to
Seriously,
nit.
this isn't. I'm not going to sit here and defend it.
Yeah, it's like
You don't have to nitpick Terminator to be able to say, oh, this movie has a few holes in it. You can just point out the obvious holes by driving your truck through them.
exactly.
You could just point to the director.
I was kind of hoping for like a Matrix reenaction where they just had like 100 T-100s just converging on one spot. Just I wanted something a little bit bigger than just like, oh, it's a naked guy chasing.
Yeah, I agree.
Christian
It was
Bale.
like, wow, you're building up and building up,
Well,
and
come
this
on.
is it? Really?
Seriously, if
They don't have
if
the
it had
budget
been
of-
more, he would not have had a fucking chance.
Yeah.
That's-
Yes,
yeah,
but
exactly.
he had a slight
then you
chance
don't
against
write
one.
yourself into a corner and have a dumb way out. That's
because
what you do.
Those robots are all about giving humanity that slight chance. It's like, well, instead of just sending in robots and making sure that he dies,
it's no
let's
fun
give him
if
a
we
time.
just kill him.
I've got a gun in my room.
This Death Star is
I'll
near
bring it down
perfect
here, we'll
except for
shoot
this
him, he's
one spot right
Whoa,
here.
whoa. One spot. Can we do anything to cover that up? I mean, if budget is no object, well, all right. There's just one spot. We'll let that slide.
I'm just going to go buy a new PlayStation. I'm not going to cover that up.
So do you love as a 3D animator-
artist?
Yeah, whatever. What do you think of the artwork in Avatar then?
I'm split on it because for 3D it does look really good. I mean, they have really worked their asses off making it really cool. The problem with that is that I don't think it fits the movie. It's like just the fact that
it fits the movie that you haven't seen yet.
Well, from what I've seen, and I've seen trailers and previews, and I've had some people send me some footage that I probably should not be sent, but Because, like I said, I do still have friends kind of out there. Like I know a guy who works at Paramount and stuff like that.
So in
just
what
kinda send me things here
sense
and
does
there.
it not fit the movie?
Name's James.
It's just that the human part of the movie is all military. It's all kind of metal, gray, green. And I think James Cameron did this on purpose, is that he wanted to kind of contrast the metal,
Lush,
cold,
land
colonist kind of
military
humans
aspect
with this bright, gorgeous, vibrant native world. But the problem is that they're just bright blue. And it's like if he'd picked any other color, like if he'd made them just like green or tan or something like that, the human mind could wrap their head around and go like, okay, I can see that as an alien species or something like that. I think it would have worked a lot better because you don't really see a lot of really bright blue things out in the natural world. I mean,
Well, that's
Yeah,
not
I've seen a
some
lot
here
of
and
alien
there, but
races,
that's-
and blue is.
Well, that's not what he's saying though. But that's not true either. I mean, there's quite a few frogs that have that shade of blue. In
Well, yeah,
them,
but
a
it's
lot
just
of
kind of
fish.
an entire race of bright blue creatures running around in this gorgeous, like, vibrant landscape. Just kind of.
But I get the impression they're going to go with some sort of chlorophyll type of thing. Which
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just your brain is kind of hardwired to go, well, that's not quite real, because your brain doesn't. And see, I can't speak for anybody besides myself, but I know that there are actual psychological, papers that say, the human mind will accept 3D up till this point when it starts to look too realistic.
yeah, it's called the uncanny valley.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of tap dances on that line a little bit, because with the bright blue, your mind never quite wraps around them being real, because you just can't imagine something that tall and blue.
Okay.
Like,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if
I hate to do
agree. I see what you're going after.
I hate to do the obvious analogy, but everyone is kind of saying, Smurfs. They're just like bright, big blue
I like
Smurfs.
what you're saying. I agree.
Yes, but no
And
one
it just
cares,
seems like
Grant.
unless the movie all of a sudden has a part of the story where someone puts on super saturation glasses, and all of a sudden that's why everything's glowing such bright colors. I can't accept that all of a sudden this is supposed to be in the same like realistic 3D world that everything else is. Everything else seems to fit, and all of a sudden you see, as I said before, a Smurf riding Battle Cat.
Yeah,
and it just
Exactly.
looks ridiculous.
Honestly, my problem with it was only that I thought they weren't alien enough. I was like, these things should have been less anthropomorphized, less similar to humans, and I felt that would have helped a lot with the idea of saying, okay, here's this really alien planet, so why don't you do that and really make it that much more alien? I mean, why not? You're doing it CG. They don't have to be human shaped. You can make it anything you want. And it struck to me like a lack of imagination by doing that.
Yeah, and like I said, like I haven't seen the entire movie.
No, obviously.
And so I'm hoping, I'm trusting in James Cameron, because I do think he's a competent director. I do think he's very talented. I'm trusting that he will be able to take the military aspects and the real world aspects and just kind of slowly blend them into the fantasy elements, so that throughout the movie you just kind of go along with the ride. Because if it literally just goes from like, oh, here's cold and dark and space and metal and marines and humans to bam, super happy Funshine Land, it's like,
See,
that's not going to work in a movie.
This is what this is reminding me of, is all the controversy that was going along with The Princess and the Frog, about how, it's going to be so racially stereotypical that like people ready to pick at the movie already. We just saw it last Saturday.
Mhm.
That is not an issue in that movie at all.
I'm glad, because I was worried about that, actually. I was like, it looks like it is from the trailers, but I'm going to give it...
Only those with the biggest agenda.
I mean,
and access
honestly,
to
you have
it,
to
so.
really go in there. Like if you've already, Sharpied up your sign, and you're like, fuck, I already planned this Saturday out to pick at the thing. I got to go in and find it.
Well,
Yeah, if you're going in there specifically looking for things that you could interpret that way. You know what I'm talking about? Because you can do that with anything. I mean, go into Star Wars and think of it all as an allegory for lesbian sex, and you'll find a way to do it. You'll find something in that movie that justifies that
You mean
rationalization.
it wasn't about lesbian sex?
Sure, it'll be all about how Luke had a very girly haircut, and he kisses Princess Leia.
Oh, he was clearly supposed to be a bull dyke. There's no question.
I thought it was all just about incest. It's the whole, Luke,
Well,
Leia,
it
will
is
they,
kind
won't
of.
they?
That is kind of.
No, it's totally about incest. We know that.
Team Han Solo, Team Luke
That's not even
Skywalker.
hidden in there.
Team Chewbacca.
You have to like look around that.
Wait, and see, that's the problem with the trailer, though, is that the trailer it just doesn't show enough, and so there's points in the trailer where it's like, that seems like they're treading on kind of not safe grounds there. So I'm glad to hear that they didn't do
Yeah,
that.
no,
Because like just the whole like the big black villain, oh, he's a voodoo sorcerer. It's like, yeah, that might be.
No, when you see it, all that flies out the window.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
it's like, it's like the thing that you think, oh, that's they're doing that. Oh, it's voodoo. Why black people gotta have voodoo?
Yeah.
That's what makes him interesting.
Yeah. Well,
And they
no, I
do
mean,
so many cool things
it's
with it.
it's New Orleans in the 20s.
Yeah.
The villain is
Yeah.
the villain is a black new voodoo sorcerer. How is that racist on any level?
You know, it's just kind of like with that,
I don't. Oh, you're doing a movie about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You're casting a black guy.
Yeah.
What?
Why is the black guy got to play basketball?
Yeah. And so I'm glad to hear that they did. And plus, it is Disney. And after the problems that they had with Lion King, and everyone like crying racism over Lion King.
Were they really?
Were they? I don't remember that.
I was just
all the
upset because
hyenas,
they ripped off
all the
Kimba the White
hyenas
Lion.
were black or Mexican.
Okay.
All the main characters, like Simba was white.
James
Scar
Earl
was
Jones,
white. James
white.
Earl Jones was black.
Oh,
but
wait.
they kill him off like right at the beginning. It's like, oh well, he's a black guy, he's gotta die.
Well, that's
And
not
so-
their fault. That was the Clinton presidency.
Well, I don't
with
believe
the whole,
I don't believe
like,
the whole thing.
job
I think
situation. there,
again, I
make
think
sure
it's just
with the
people looking for bad
affirmative
things.
action. That was all that was.
Like I said,
that was a trend back then. like I brought up about Jurassic Park.
Lions had
even
a
before
big
the
issue
opening
with that.
credits,
Yeah.
they kill a black guy off.
And so again, it's just a case of people going like, oh well, that's racist, when it really is not. But they were like, oh well, the hyenas are, one of them is Mexican, one of them is black. It's racism.
See,
And
the thing is, like, and now we're saying this, and people are going to go, what about that time y'all cried racism on this? It's like, because sometimes it is.
Because sometimes, Annie, it is.
There's points you just like, come on. They're
You
just
just say this movie is a racist?
they're throwing it in your face. What do you want?
What do you mean? Those obviously non-Chinese people at the very
I mean,
my
the
God.
Lion King, you're like,
black
black.
racist.
Dude, that whole thing in the first
You
prequel, I was sitting there all, I'm excited about Star Wars, and they start talking, yes, the
saw.
Jedi will come here, I saw. I was just like, I was looking around like, am I being punked? Is this for real?
we kill the Jedi with kung fu.
The Lion King is like,
Honorable
black
Master
people
Jedi.
in Africa?
No, surely not.
That doesn't make any sense. We should get Jim Carrey to
can
do
this
the,
be?
all the voices.
Yeah, him and Robin Williams. They
Yeah,
should
they
have
can
just
do
done them all.
They've been Robin Williams has been doing black people for years. But you know what? That's actually about. We're kind of out of time for this segment here of the
man.
our interview with Fungus Monkey / Peter. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah, for
having
real,
me.
man. I'm so glad you could make it by. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do this for a while.
And you've definitely
You've all been graced by my wonderful glowing presence.
And honestly, if your schedule
Whatnot.
wasn't what
You
it
brought
was,
presents?
and we weren't bursting
No
the
presents.
seams with Leog
brought
members, I'd invite you to join.
we will probably have you back
See,
again
you,
at some
you can't
future
hear
point.
that, but I'm slowly rubbing my hands together. Yes, the plan is continuing as it should.
Maybe if you actually brought presents.
Oh, is that? I thought that was for the Amazon wish list before.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
That is true. You nailed
Get
that.
the money
Yes.
grubbing right out of the way.
Yes,
and by the way,
we
my-
have standards, but we're easily bribed.
That's true.
And my Amazon wish list will be online soon. Just saying.
Now that you've been on a podcast, that officially
Yes.
gets you. Yeah.
That's how it works, right? You be on one podcast, then you say, "Oh, I have an Amazon wish list," and then you just get free crap.
I don't think it's
Yeah, I
worked
don't
for
think it
Harris
works like
yet.
that.
Oh, I thought that was how it was explained to me.
So far, Harris is still going. What's the deal, guys?
You know who buys me the most stuff on my Amazon wish list?
Harris?
Me!
Oh.
I'm saying, I'm like, look, we're not exactly prize whores here. I have that thing, not so like, hey, Spill members buy me shit. I'm like, no, this is stuff that I'm going to get for myself.
Actually, yeah, I actually started one in the first place because it helps me keep track of when there are deals on
Exactly.
stuff I know I want anyway. And you like go, okay, I got $20 to spend right now on something. Go through there and see whatever's on sale. If there's a good cheap used copy of something, bada bing.
Yeah, I just bought today the complete animated Superman because somebody had it for $20. I'm like, oh shit, I got to jump on.
Oh,
this.
that's that. I myself bought something. I got the Dummy's Guide to Getting People to Buy Stuff for You on your Amazon wish list.
Wait a minute, you bought yourself the Dummy's Guide to getting people to buy you stuff on the Amazon wish list?
Meta, isn't it?
It was one page. It just said,
Well, I
"Be
guess
on
it
the
works.
Leog podcast."
Okay, so that was Peter.
Thank God you didn't bring up the Irish, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he gets a little testy about the Irish thing. You guys, we got two Irish guys right here, and y'all are the ones who start the joke. Start going Lucky Charms with him. He's like, you know what? That's not funny.
Oh, but it is.
I was amused. Of course, I'm not Irish.
You're always after me, Lucky Charms.
Screw you, you non-Irish person.
I really want to see like a wire fu movie with the Lucky Charms mascot. I'm just
Lucky?
They're always
Leprechaun?
after me, Lucky Charms, and now I'm after them.
That is actually a really great idea. Oh my God, Bo, I totally want to see that. Where he's got all these different weapons in the shape of the different charms and everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Here's some blue diamonds for you.
If you want to see an Irish kung fu movie, it's called Drunken Master.
Which is a great movie.
Wow, I had no idea that I knew a martial art, but indeed I do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens when you actually try and start a fire. Look, I have this, I'm a martial arts master. Oh, I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, it hurts.
All right, well, you know what? This was a bookend, Leog, so we're just going to kind of wrap this one up. I hope you guys had a good time.
You got
with those
2 whole interviews. You take it and like it.
And, we're going to try not to double them up like that in the future, but I do want to warn y'all, we've got some pretty cool people coming up on the horizon. We've got an interview coming up with Matt Sturgis,
Matt.
which is pretty exciting. He's going to come hang out with all of
Might be
us.
familiar with him, writing a little title called JSA All Stars.
Mm-hmm, along with House of Mystery, Jack of Fables.
And pretty much anything that Bill Willingham goes, yeah, I'm sick of writing this.
Pretty much. And then we've also got Mary Jo Pell from the Mystery Science Theater, who apparently lives here in town now and is friends with a friend, and she has agreed to come on and drunkenly shoot the shit.
Oh, and of course there's always, those dashing lads and ladies from the Leog.
Who?
So.
Oh, you mean you guys?
That's true, man. We hit
Y'all
them
will
every
be back.
week.
Yeah. So, for this week, I think that it's safe to say that
Are we gonna?
We gonna do the thing?
we can do the thing.
Can we say something?
How many times is this going to be said in this episode?
I almost feel like we should say something else now, like Merry Christmas League or
All
something.
right, let's
like
try
that.
and say it
China
really,
strong.
really
We go,
quickly.
Merry Christmas from the League. What do you think?
No.
I don't think I can make my mouth work for that.
I know. I feel a little dirty already.
Long
All right,
live
so
the
just
league.
say long live the league, I think.
Long live the
Long
League.
live the league. Yeah.
God, that was so lackluster.
Much we're doing.
Let's maybe try one more
Falling apart.
time.
We're
One more
falling
time.
apart, guys.
This is kind of lame. The fact that
Happy
we're
John Quanamakismasaka.
One more
Birthday
time.
Festivus
and mean it.
rest of us.
Can't we sing it to a song or something like that? It's like, and you can tell everybody.
No.
Long
This
live
is
the
so-
league.
Tell everybody that.
Long live the League!
Hey, did you guys just start? What's going on?
Oh, it's that fucking robot.